Man, isn't it beautiful here in Halifax, Nova Scotia? But, it's 2:30. It's a 5-hour drive home. We're going to get home for GoGameGo on Wednesday night.
God damn you, GoGameGo!
Chrissy, I know you're having fun, but it's time to go home and watch GoGameGo.
God damn you, GoGameGo!
She did pretty good.
He's got his wife in on it now.
Why do I have a feeling that next week he will have a video that has some random child saying that to us?
That is so funny. Well, welcome to GoGameGo and our special guest, Cyrus Martin. How you doing, Cyrus?
Yo.
Yo. Cyrus has dressed very well for this evening.
Oh,
I love the Castlevania shirt.
Speaking of that, we had to go to my son's school to talk to some teachers, and I come out like this, and my wife's like, "That's what you're wearing?" I said, "Well, it's a classic. It's TurboGrafx."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we get there, and the teacher we're meeting with, he opens the door and he goes, "Hey, TurboGrafx."
See,
I love TurboGrafx.
I knew that was going to happen. And she looked at you and goes, "God damn you, GoGameGo."
I just thought it was funny because it's not like everybody knows about TurboGrafx. So
they just pretend like they don't. They're like, "Oh, I don't know what that is."
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, hey, you know what? I've been meaning to do an unboxing on my show, but I have one thing I have to open. I have two things. I'll save the other one because I got this. And you will see what's inside. We need to have unboxing music.
We can make some music, I guess. Look, it's actual box.
Look, it's a box within the bag. What else do we have? Oh yeah, Elvis, the Searcher.
Ah, cool.
But the cover's like really wrinkly. I don't know. I'll have to talk to him about that. And King Creole with Elvis.
Nice. Who's in that? Who's the woman there?
Chai Rodriguez. I don't know. Oh, you know who it is? Carolyn Jones. Isn't that?
I don't know who that is.
From Addams Family, right?
Oh, yeah, Morticia. Okay.
I'm sorry, at my cough. I need to mute when I'm doing that.
Sir, I don't know if you're gonna make it to the show.
I'll be fine. I exhausted myself. I was telling Cyrus and Jeff about that. Too many hours not sleeping, and just stressing about silly crap.
So we invited Cyrus on to talk some retro games.
Yeah, remember that time I came on the show and Vikings dude died?
Every time Cyrus comes on the show, one of the members died.
And I didn't even start doing this until I got up and came over here.
Well,
Cyrus, what was the
social distancing? Sorry.
What was your first console?
What was my first what?
Gaming console.
Oh, console.
See, he says council. He says council, but it's console.
Council.
Yeah, I know.
How dare you inquire about the council here?
Council.
My first console was the Intellivision.
Really?
OG Intellivision, yes.
Wow.
Yeah, my mom refused to get us an Atari. She was like, education, yes. Intelligent, I like that. Television.
And I can do my taxes.
Well, there was math fun, but it wasn't. But yeah, we got the Intellivision. My mom was very serious about it because she actually had to buy us two of them because the first one literally burned up. Like,
no.
Yeah, we had it for a while, and then one day we turned it on and it smoked, and literally some black smoke come out of it, and it died.
Wow.
And she went and got us another one, and I couldn't. I mean, that was expensive too. So,
that's a heck of a mom right there.
oh yeah, best mom I ever had.
What?
Yeah, she's pretty cool. And
So what
I
kind
look
of
forward
games
to
was she getting
eventually-
you?
Do what?
What kind of games was she getting you since she was into the more of
Well, she got us.
intellectual?
She got us the word fun and the math fun. And we really didn't play them that much because, come on.
They weren't fun.
Right. But she'd also picked up some of the like Astro Smash and Space Armada, Night Stalker, Pitfall.
Oh, wow.
And, we had, we all really had a great time, especially with like Astro Smash and Night Stalker. And so we those mainly, and it was fun to just all of us sort of see how far we could get in Stalker. What's the next robot going to be? Who knows? And try to survive as far as you could in Pitfall. That kind of stuff. We would it was like a family kind of experience where we'd all kind of do it together more than it wasn't so much like one person played in television, like we were all playing it. So it was pretty cool. But, eventually we moved on to other things. But that was for several years. That's what we had. So it was pretty good.
Listen, Lane, his first system was a Fairchild Channel F. I don't know anyone whose first system was a Fairchild Channel. That is
Well, now
so cool.
you do.
I know. How about that?
I always like to say his name. He has one of those names I like to say.
Lance
Jennings. I like to do that.
Great name.
Tonight with Lance Jennings.
Tonight, exclusively.
Should be an anchor. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Lance Jennings on Channel 5. Look.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, you got the Magic 8 Ball.
Magic 8 Ball.
I got it. I got
What if
it.
it worked? What?
We were doing a thing last week where Stuart was asking me questions and I was answering, and Magic 8 Ball answers. Those things are so goofy.
What do you mean they're real? What are you talking about?
So how long did you have your television before you got something new?
Oh, I guess probably, let's see. We got it, I believe, in like 82, 80, something like that. And then we didn't get an Atari until 86. So for 4 years, I guess, we had in television. And that's
So what made the change that you ended up getting an Atari?
we found a really awesome deal at a garage sale.
Oh, sweet.
Oh, nice.
That's incredible.
Yeah, there was this really, really awesome garage sale. I remember it because it was so cool. Like, because they were getting rid of all their Atari stuff and they were selling the games for like 50 cents a piece or something.
Wow.
So we bought like 20 something games and an Atari, and we never had Atari, so it was like the full Atari experience all at once, and that was really fun. That did us for a couple more years before the NES became a thing. But yeah, good times. And then we ended up
What did you
trading.
like on the Atari?
That's what I was going to say.
What I mean, I played. Okay, so I mainly played, for some reason, the Atari on a black and white TV, and we had like black and white TVs in our bedrooms, and then
That's how I started.
Okay, so I remember I would bring the Atari into my bedroom, and then television sort of stayed in the living room, and I would play like Asteroids and Defender, and I mean, like Centipede, Pac-Man, even though it wasn't, it wasn't that great, but it was all right. I was happy to have it. Damn it. Like, so there's, I can't even, like, trying to remember like all the different Atari games. There was so many, and then there was a bunch of them I didn't understand how to play, like the Raiders of the Lost Ark. I didn't know how to play it until like years later, and I was like, oh, you got to use 2 controllers for this? Oh. I had no idea. I was just like, this game doesn't work. You know, and then we played Combat all the time.
Yeah, we played the crap out of that.
Yeah, all the time. That was as big for us as Triple Action was for Intellivision.
Yeah, that was a great game.
Yeah. So yeah, we played all of that. You know, like I said, tons of different games on both of them, and then we ended up trading the Intellivision to a kid for the Omega Supreme toy from the Transformers. He was trying to sell it at a garage sale, and me and my brother were like, "Oh, Omega Supreme," which I don't know if y'all know Transformers very well, but the big,
yeah.
And it was in like it had everything to it. It was a full thing. We kept that for 20 years or whatever. I don't know what my brother ended up with it. So, but yeah,
wow,
good times.
Wow. Is there a moment where you're like, I wish I wouldn't have done that?
No.
Do you have an Intellivision again now?
I do. I bought another one. So I went for many, many years in Intellivision-less.
Yeah. Less.
I didn't have one because, retro wasn't a thing for me until, I don't know, like early 2000s. I started to slowly kind of decide there was such a thing as retro gaming. And so I started to acquire old systems that I had gotten rid of things, but the Intellivision was one of the last ones because I bought that Intellivision flashback console a few years back.
Yeah.
And it had like Intellivision collections, so I had the games available just like on a real Intellivision. So
right.
I took my time getting back to buying another Intellivision, but again, I found a great deal. So I went there's a local retro game store, and I walked in and I was like, on a whim, I was like, "Hey, do y'all have any Intellivisions?" And they're like, "Yeah," and pulled out a box with a whole bunch of stuff, and I was like, "I'll take it." So that was a couple of years ago. So yeah. So now I do have another Intellivision. I have like 50 something games.
Wow.
I don't have all the Intellivision games. I will probably never have all of them, but I do have all of the big ones that I ever had, and then a whole bunch of other ones too.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to see about getting one someday. My neighbor had one. I never had one. He had the Intellivision. I had the 2600, and then moved on to Nintendo once I was married and lived down there.
I never had Intellivision until just a little bit ago, and Luke Boudreaux sent me the Intellivision 2.
Oh,
wow!
Okay.
I still want to get an original one because the like everyone said, the controller for Intellivision 2 is not the best controller around.
I've heard, and tell me if this is correct, because I've only recently heard this, that the Intellivision 2 is not compatible with every game. Like there's certain
That
games.
is correct. Lance will know, but there are a handful of games that do not work on it, and I can't remember offhand. What's weird is the side buttons don't really push in.
Oh, that's what you were mentioning the other day.
But they work.
That's weird.
They work. A couple of them you kind of can feel go in, but the others you don't. The other two you don't. But they still work. It's just an odd feeling to push a button, not have it move, and still work.
I've only ever owned the original model. They had one of those at that store that you have, and I was like, nah, I don't want. I want the old one.
Thank you. Thank you, Mental. Yes.
Oh, there you go, Lance. Some Coleco games won't work on Intellivision too.
Oh,
that's such an odd thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Cyrus, did you ever have a point early on where you stopped playing games?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, okay, so I guess I played games pretty much all through my childhood, through my teenage years, early, when I was in college, we played games. But I did quit playing all video games for about 5 or 6 years because at a certain, how do I say this? Like, my wife and I were running a business doing video and photography, and all of my time was used on the computer doing editing and manipulating video and photos, and what little bit of free time we had, we watched a movie together or a TV show, or we went and did something. But I didn't play any video games at all for about 5 or 6 years, and this was like 2000s, like 2000, maybe 2003 to like 2007, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably about 4 years, I guess. And then out of nowhere, she bought me a PlayStation 2, because I had one when it came out, but it died on me. And when it died on me, that was like when I basically just walked away from games for a while. And out of nowhere, she bought me a PlayStation 2. One of the worst things she could have ever done. because then it was like, video games, you know.
Game on.
But yeah, there was a while there where I was like, I just was doing other stuff, and you know, so I missed out on a whole bunch of stuff that happened during the PS2 era and GameCube, Xbox, the whole thing, because I just wasn't. I had no idea. I wasn't paying attention at all to gaming.
Yeah, it is kind of weird because like in I would say around 83, 84 to about 89, I really wasn't playing. Matter of fact, when I first met Stuart, that's when I didn't even know of the Nintendo or any game system was even out. When I met Stuart, and he had an NES and a Genesis and a TurboGrafx. I was like, what are all these things? I hadn't played a game, since like 83, 84. Wow. And it was so different.
Yeah. Then we went to a CES show in Chicago and all kinds of stuff. So
let me ask you the
CES shows.
Let me ask you about this TurboGrafx thing, because TurboGrafx 16 is my favorite console of all time. It's my number one console. Yeah. And it's always been since I originally got one. But I was a lot younger than you guys, as has been mentioned.
As has been determined early on.
So I'm very curious, like, how you received the TurboGrafx 16 and the Turbo CD and all that, because, for me, I know how I felt about it, but what was your experience with discovering that at your age?
I'll start that because it starts with me for both of us. There was a publication that came out driven by the suburban journals called the St. Louis Sun that was going to be in direct competition with the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. And I talked to them about writing video game reviews, and they hired me to do it. We already worked for the journals, Jeff and I did. So it worked out pretty well, and I started doing that. Well, then there's this new system, the TurboGrafx by NEC. So I got a hold of them, and I said I'd like to review this for the St. Louis Sun, and they sent me one. Not only did they send me one, they sent me the undercarriage with the CD drive.
Yeah.
And they sent me a sample disc that had Lou Reed stuff on it, and there was a female artist, I want to say Donna Summer, that was on it as well. And I still have that disc, but the disc player doesn't work anymore. But that's how I got it. And I reviewed it, and it was the games were brilliant. I just was blown away by the games. And they sent me Monster Lair, and what was the other disc game they sent me? Was Fighting Street? Was that a disc?
Yeah, it was one of the first ones.
Yeah. So they sent me those games, and I got to play those and fell in love with it. And then Jeff got to play it, and
we started hanging out. So I go over to Stewart's like on Friday, Saturday night. We play games. I think, and we played some NES, but for the most part, we played TurboGrafx and Genesis. And to be honest, when I see those systems, and then I see the NES, and I don't know anything about any of these systems, but just looking at them, I'm like, well, these are way better than these NES games. I mean, they look so much better. And I love the TurboGrafx games. So we played that a lot, and I ended up getting a NES sent me one at discount. Stuart got me a discount through his connection. I think it was like something like $75, or I can't remember what it was. It was pretty cheap. And so then I went and got a Genesis, and then I ended up with an NES as well. But I just played the heck out of the TurboGrafx in the Genesis because, man, I just love those games.
Yeah, and then you got
Turbo
you got
Express sitting right over there.
Yeah.
Oh, you got the Turbo Express? Oh, wow, that's good. I always wanted one of those.
Same here. I never had one. I would love to have one.
You know, let me ask
Oh, there
you
it
this,
is on the top shelf. Yeah.
Yeah, but you do a pocket.
Viking. Let me ask you this question. So when you got the TurboGrafx CD, did you get it in the box, in the original box?
Yeah.
Okay. How big was that box? Because I saw it at Toys R Us. I never had one brand new, the TurboGrafx CD, but I saw that box sitting on the very top shelf many times because I was lusting after it. Do you remember how big it was? Because I remember it being just the biggest freaking thing I ever seen in my life. Like,
yeah, I had to mute myself. My wife is using the sink upstairs with the hot water, and can you hear it whining? It's like,
No.
So maybe I'm the only one whining right now. It was, I think I have it back there,
really?
but it was probably, it was good size because it came with, I ended up getting the case. I'll do what Jeff just did. There it is on my shelf there.
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
And I got the case there that goes with it. And
that fits the system and the CD player, right?
Yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
That's huge.
That has to be worth something right there. How many of those are around still?
I would think.
I've seen them at retro stores, and they charge quite a bit just for the case. Like,
oh really? Just for that plastic case that it goes in?
Dude, everything TurboGrafx is like bourgeois in the game collecting thing. Like, it's like way overpriced. Like, they have like driven the prices of TurboGrafx stuff to insane levels. Like, it doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
Why do I even still have it?
I think I've got like 35 games for it that I bought all during the original run of TurboGrafx, and I'm glad I have them because prices are so crazy now. It's like,
yeah,
there aren't too many more TurboGrafx games I could probably buy.
Yeah, I was really mad about that because when I never knew. I mean, who knew that was going to happen? But when I sold my old TurboGrafx stuff back years and years ago, I was always thinking, well, I'll buy it later if I really want it. I'll buy it again. It'll be cheap. Nobody cares about this system anyway. Like, I'll get it. Nobody even knows about it. And then when everything went to crap, I was like, are you kidding me? And so I bought another TurboGrafx with the CD and everything. It cost me $600. And
my gosh.
Yeah. I bought the Super System card, and the card, not even with the case, just the card was $200.
Oh my God.
This was like 5 years ago. So it's worth way more now. It's worth way more now.
I gotta go list my stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to get rid of it, but at the same time, I'm like, what?
It's only going to get more expensive. Like,
So just hang on.
This past year, I bought a PC Engine Duo RX, the white. One, the last model they brought out, because my TurboGrafx CD, it's old, and it doesn't it kind of it's like, come on, Betsy, you can do it, but it's old. So I spent $400 on the PC Engine Duo RX, and it plays perfectly. And that's just going to have to do me because,
which version is that, Cyrus? The Turbo Duo what?
The PC Engine, it's the Japanese.
Oh, PC Engine. Okay.
Yeah, the Duo RX, the white one that comes with the 6-button controller.
Okay.
So, yeah, it was released in '94, so it was the last model that was ever released that plays PC Engine, TurboGrafx, CDs, and all that.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you're gonna get something that's original hardware that you want, like the newest hardware that should last theoretically the longest, that's what you get. But who knows? It's all old stuff at this point. So.
Yeah, but still expensive, right?
Yeah, the TurboGrafx stuff though is way more than the PC Engine stuff, and it's
wow.
It's your Turbo Express. You know how much that goes for? I mean,
I have no idea right now. To be honest.
Don't tell him right now, or else we'll lose him on the show as well.
I'm sure someone in the
I'll
chat
still
could
be here,
check.
but my wife might come in and grab it real quick.
Well, if it's fully working,
it should be. The last time I turned it on, it was working. And when I found it after we moved, first thing I did was I opened up the battery. The back.
You're not going to believe what it's worth. You won't believe it.
There were no batteries in it, and I was like, oh, thank you. And it was in a carrying case, and I had all the batteries in front of the carrying case. So thankfully, I had the forethought there to take the batteries out, because if I would have opened that up and they're all oozed out, I would have
oh yeah, that'd have been horrible.
Yeah.
How much is it worth, sir?
Well, I couldn't tell you what it is right now. I can tell you what it was a few years ago.
Okay.
It was worth more than what I spent on my TurboGrafx CD.
What?
Yep.
Dang.
Yeah, it might be close to 1,000 by this.
I was going to say maybe $1,000 by now, right?
Wow.
They're worth a lot. A fully functional Turbo Express, not a PC Engine GT, the actual TurboGrafx Turbo Express. Yeah.
I also have I have a TV tuner for it as well.
Oh man.
Wow.
That's probably more rare than the Turbo Express, to be honest.
It's pretty rare.
I actually used it back then to watch some TV. It's kind of crazy to think about that.
Yeah, I was going to say it's kind of wild when you think about it.
We said we went to 2 CES shows back in, what was it, 90, 91?
Yeah.
I remember one of them, the Nintendo announced a Super Nintendo, which was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But another one, NEC was announcing the Turbo Duo, and they had them there. And I was like, oh, this would be great. You could get the CDs and the turbo chips all in one system. But I think it was $300 when it came out. And I was like, I don't want to spend $300 on it.
Right.
I wish I would have spent that $300 now. Oh man, I blew it on that one.
You don't happen to have the box for it, do you?
I don't.
If you do,
I don't think so.
If you do, we really are going to lose you on the show.
I don't think
I won't even tell you what. Won't even tell you what that's running on eBay. The Turbo Express is not as much as I thought. I mean, you might be able to get a good one for about 600.
Yeah, this one's in perfect shape. I mean, it looks like it's probably been used.
I'm sure you could get 600 easy for your Turbo Express. Yeah. If you have the box, there's only a couple that are even available, and it's like they know that it's incredibly rare, so they're asking like thousands of dollars for that.
I might have it locked away somewhere, but can't remember. Maybe I should go look for it.
I know that's like me.
One of the listings was for $11,000.
Holy crap!
That's what they're asking. That doesn't mean it's going to get that, but yeah,
that's a big payment on a house, man.
Yeah. My wife just commented that she bought me a TurboGrafx game for my birthday when we were dating.
Oh wow!
Really?
That was awesome. It was Parasol Stars.
Wow.
Which I believe is not very cheap right now either.
There's nothing cheap for TurboGrafx.
Maybe Keith Courage.
Well, okay, yeah. There's
depends if you have the comic book.
Oh,
then it might be.
Well,
which I do.
So. God bless emulation. Yeah, I hear you. and thankfully, TurboGrafx is emulated really well.
Well, the TurboGrafx CD stuff gives people some problems. Like, you can emulate it fine; it will work. You just have to know how to set it all up, and different emulators are different about how they handle it, so it can be kind of problematic for people. The CD games, and so I've known a lot of people that I would talk to about TurboGrafx, and I'd be like, yeah, it's my favorite system. The games are badass. And they're like, yeah, I don't know. I didn't really. And I'm like, did you play the CD games? No, I didn't play those. I couldn't figure out. I'm like, well, if you didn't play the CD games, you didn't really play TurboGrafx. I mean,
Right.
that's like you had the CD from Jump from the beginning.
Yeah.
So you had the full TurboGrafx thing.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that a lot of people didn't is probably, one of the big contributors to why it didn't really take off.
Yeah.
Because man, you're right. With the CD, it was unbelievable. But yeah, as far as emulation, that's the one thing is, with RetroArch and with these RetroPies and things, sometimes the CD stuff's kind of hit or miss trying to get it to work right. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I have a PC Engine emulator. It does, all the North American games, and it does the CD games, like Super CD. I think it does the other one. What's the other one that has like 3 games for it?
The Super Graphics.
Yeah, I think it does that. I had to download like these BIOS for it for each of those, and then it all worked fine.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't like I'm okay with emulation, but I don't like emulation because there's always these little things that are different, not necessarily wrong, but like just a little different. Like you'll hear the music sound slightly different, or like for the CD games, you get used to like, I know it's going to sound weird, but like there's certain games, like the way they load, like Gate of Thunder or something, like it'll have these moments where it'll pause here or there. There's certain things you get used to, and that doesn't get recreated in the emulation. There's these little things like that, and I just don't like it. It just irritates me.
It's like WKRP with different music.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of emulation. It's okay. I'm just not. Yeah. I had that. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I had bought that TurboGrafx Mini a few years ago, and it was not good. Like it was, the emulation was okay, but it would lose synchronization, the audio and video. Like the longer you played it, eventually it would just slowly fall out of sync, the audio and the video.
Really?
Yeah. And
what causes that?
I don't know. Something to do with the emulator.
Okay.
But that and the fact that you couldn't add any games to it. It had what it had, and that was it. And some of these, they've made it that like there's hacks that have come out that'll let you like side load other games and stuff. But they never made anything public for the TurboGrafx Mini. So
I keep looking. I've never seen one like a solution to add games. At least not a good one. The ones I've seen are kind of half-assed. Like I'm not going to worry about it until they actually
that right there. Because that thing turned out to be disappointing, it is the reason I bought the PC Engine Duo, the one that I have, because I was thinking that was going to be my solution. Like, okay, here's my solution. And then it wasn't. And I was so disappointed. And then I was like, you know what I'll do? I'll use the controller because it's USB. I'll use it with my emulators. And then I had all kinds of problems trying to get it to work with RetroArch and recognize everything. And I was just like, you know what? Screw this. So that's why I just walked away from all that. I don't like emulation. Like, ugh.
How was that?
Ugh.
We need to have that as a soundbite for the show.
DJ Steve stopped by and asked if we've ever heard of Pac-Man, if we tried Pac-Man before.
What? What's this? What?
Something about a maze. He thinks this might be a corn game. I think it's a cornhole game, DJC.
We call it maze.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if Pac-Man's appropriate. Can you use that name anymore? We moved beyond that. I don't know if it's. Seems like something might be wrong with that name.
Ordyne is an awesome shoot 'em up. That is a great.
Yeah, we used to play that with my wife all the time.
Yeah.
Go shopping. That was a Namco game, wasn't it?
Oh man, I don't know.
Possibly. It's sitting over there. I could check.
I think it's actually under their label Namcot, I believe.
Namcot.
I never could understand what that was about. Why did they do that? What was the
I don't know.
Namcot?
I thought they did it for Nintendo to get around their 7 games a year or something released, but
maybe that's
I don't know who they're fooling. Putting a T at the end.
Oh well, this can't possibly be Namco. It's Namcot. The logo looks exactly the same except for the T. But
Stevens, go back there. We need something special. So we're Namco. Give me something. Give me something.
Is that where Nintendo had a slow down production of games? You can only do 7 games a year for us. Who can do 7 games a year anymore?
Thing. Like then Nintendo. Come on, Nintendo. What are you doing?
Does that mean I'm canceled?
Yeah. Goodbye. Goodbye, Chuck.
My jaw hit the floor when I saw your comment. I was like, that is not going to work. Sir.
So we got to talking earlier. I'm going to throw this out there. It's my little hammer away crossover for the moment. We were talking about the youth of Cyrus, and because he doesn't believe in it, but it's true. So I'm gonna put it out there. Here's your trivia. He was born the same year as these great albums.
Fake news.
Anybody know what year that was? I'll just flash through them real quick. Where's my super chicken? I need a super chicken. I just put that in there. There it is.
Super chicken.
Did you order one of those? You got it, right?
Yeah, it's over. I don't know if you can see it.
I could see it last week.
Well, no, you can't. I'm blocking it. I got 2 Devo over here, then Super Chicken.
Oh, you got your Devos.
The feet are so small. He keeps falling over.
That's what that's what they did with
the laying on the floor. I'm like, that's not super at all.
That's what they did with the. So close, and yet so far away.
TJC, when are we going to hear this baseball song? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, what's up with that?
He's an artist.
Rats.
He can't be rushed.
That's straight Rats. That's straight out of
Charlie Brown,
Schoolhouse Rock, as well. Rats. I always think of Rats. It's an exclamation.
Oh,
hooray!
Rats.
Were you ever into Schoolhouse Rock, Cyrus?
I remember Schoolhouse Rock.
Yeah.
I don't know if I was into Schoolhouse Rock.
Yeah. 78 is close. That's real close.
Very close, Ryan.
So close.
This is so close.
You lose. Good day, sir.
Yeah. Ooh, I just did it like Styx did in 78. They had a Queen of Spades where he says, you lose. When the album is done, I shall reveal all. There it is. He's a 77. That's it. Can't decide. Well, you can decide because Grand Illusion and Out of the Blue and Point of No Return all came out in 77. So there you go. By the time 82 hit, Steve Walsh was out of the band. Didn't come back till 86, 85.
I used to make fun of my friends that were born in the 80s.
Did you? Why?
Because I was born in the 70s. I was like, you're born in the 80s.
Ooh. Did you do that while you were punching them?
Well, of course. I mean,
of course.
It goes without saying,
80s punk.
Yeah, who did you think he was? Trying to be born.
So what was one of the things that you mentioned that she got you a PS2? I didn't get a PS2 until many years after it was out. And what was killing me was the movie Toy Story 3 came out, and they made a version because the PS3 was out by then, and they made a version of Toy Story 3 for the PS3 and the PS2. And I asked my friend, I'm like, what is going on with this? And he goes, oh, it may surprise you and maybe it won't, but he says the PS2 is still outselling the PS3.
Yeah, it was outselling everything for a couple years.
That's the best-selling system ever.
Yeah,
I think that's probably right.
it is the best selling. It's by far. I think it's like 40 million,
Holy
or
crap.
something like that. It's some ridiculous number.
Oh, something like 120 million, I think.
Oh yeah, I'm way off.
Switch
As
is
I was
already
saying,
like 85 million.
as I was saying, I was like, I don't think that's right. So what are you talking about? 40 million. It was a lot. It was a lot.
They wish you were on their team.
Official
So-
number.
PS2, the other systems were original Xbox and GameCube, right? Isn't that the same era?
Yeah. GameCube. It was like PS2 came out in 2000. GameCube came out in 2002, I think. Xbox came out in also, I think either 2001 or 2002, right in that same ballpark. So
Yeah.
actually, I think 2001. I think the GameCube was the last one to come out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was still playing my Dreamcast.
Dude, I was so pissed because man, I believed in the Dreamcast, right? I think there's a
I was
lot
buying
of us.
everything for the Dream. Sega put out for that. It was like a year and a half that it was out, basically,
Yeah.
because they cut it. They cut it in January of 2001.
Well,
They said they were stopping. They said they weren't making any more games, or they were going third party then.
Yeah.
But I was so pissed off because they didn't put out Shenmue 2. You know, they did in Europe, but then they canceled it here. And I mean, that was one of my favorite gaming periods of all time. Sega put out so many great games in that year and a half. It's unbelievable.
I still don't understand. Like, I get what happened. Sega screwed over their own company and all that. You know, I get it. But that thing was really good, and everybody loved it. Like, all of my friends were either getting a Dreamcast or talking about it. It was like it was taking off. Like I come from like a small town, like 5,000 people, and
I have more than that, but yeah,
it's a pretty small town. And
that is.
we had a couple of video stores there, and they both were carrying Dreamcast. It was really like, it was becoming a thing, and then it just went gone. And I was just like, what? Because it was this revolution that happened and then disappeared, because it was so much better than PlayStation and Saturn and all that. It was like on a whole nother level.
I loved everything about it. You get online. The controllers had a little screen.
The online thing, awesome. Nobody caught up to that for 5 years? It was like Dreamcast was doing online, and they weren't even thinking about online when they brought out the PS2 and the GameCube, the Xbox. They wouldn't even, you couldn't play Xbox online. That was something they added later. Like when you first got the Xbox, it was like, well, we figured out a way to, like, if you get a router and you do this, then you can play sort of online, and it's got some lag and sort of, but it kind of works. Like, there wasn't no Xbox Live, that was later, and Dreamcast was doing that in 99,
Wow.
It's great.
I still have all my Dreamcast stuff, my keyboard, my mouse.
Wow.
All that stuff, man.
Yeah, I've got my keyboard and mouse too. They even had a broadband adapter for this thing back in 2000.
Yeah.
That's just crazy. I remember I loved Choo Choo Rocket for their online stuff, not playing people online, but you could make your own puzzles and then upload them. And then you could download other people's puzzles. This was in 99, 2000.
Yeah.
And
they had DLC for Sonic Adventure. You could download like stuff for the game, like little stuff for the game, like your little chow things that you would get.
Yeah.
They had like online stuff.
They even had a few games you could play on the VMU where you could plug them in together and you could play head to head. There's just a handful of those, but everything about that was so great. And I wish it would have just taken off because that was such a great system.
Yeah. Yeah. We had a lot of fun playing that.
We did a turbo, a Dreamcast. It was a Dreamcast night with Mike Mullis.
It was, yeah.
Because he's a big Dreamcast fan, and it was just funny. We both got our Dreamcast collections out. And we were just showing everything we had because we both had a bunch of Japanese Dreamcast games.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a whole bunch of those. It's
You know, the
And,
Dreamcast has a really good homebrew community. You know, I don't know how thriving it still is, but like that was the first console that I ever put an emulator on, you know, because it has like, it'll do like, there's an NES emulator on it called Nestor DC that's very good. And, you know, like a Game Gear one, Master System, Genesis. There's even a Super Nintendo one that'll run on the Dreamcast if you burn discs and stuff. That was one of the first systems I ever discovered that homebrew was even a thing. You know,
I just bought a game for the Dreamcast, a new game.
Oh yeah, what'd you get?
Shoot, I can't remember. I think it was a platformer. I don't remember the name, but they had a sale and it was like, oh, it was a good price. I went ahead and grabbed it because I haven't bought a new Dreamcast game in probably 2001 or 2002.
Yeah.
And it's been a long time.
Are they going to make the Dreamcast Mini? That's a good question.
That would be cool. I would get that.
You think they can emulate it though?
So the problem is with as far as like mini consoles that are CD based, it's so much more memory that is required because of the CD games. And you remember the Dreamcast were a gigabyte on a disc. So
yeah, it was
yeah. So I don't know how economically viable. Plus, the thing with Dreamcast is it was 4-player. How are they going to do the VMU and all that stuff? I mean, there's a lot to think about if you do a Dreamcast Mini.
Yeah, it would be difficult, I think.
Be badass though. It would be
difficult and badass. What is
I would
badass
buy
that
one.
isn't a little difficult?
I don't think I need one though, because I got a really cool HDMI adapter for my Dreamcast, and it looks great on modern TV with that.
I'd buy it if it came out.
Yeah,
Same reason why I bought the TurboGrafx Mini. I mean, it's TurboGrafx.
Yeah,
something new from TurboGrafx. I'm getting it.
Yeah.
I really wish that had been better. I'm sorry.
Oh no, that's good. So now your show on YouTube is always retro rambling, right? Or is it those are episodes that you do?
This is a new podcast that I just started doing. Previously, my channel was just whatever, a bunch of random me doing video games stuff called Video Game Virus. And I decided it was probably a good idea to do something different. I wanted to move on from that. And one of the things that I'm doing is this podcast, it's just an audio podcast, and it's all retro stuff, retro rambling. Gotcha. And the only thing I do is just literally yak about old stuff. So it could be gaming, it could be movies, TV. I did a show last week on tape, and it was interesting that anyone found it at all compelling at all. Like there's a couple people that were like, "Oh, it was a good show." I was like, "Really? You enjoyed it? Okay." Like I just yakking for an hour.
Did you say tape? Like tape. Scotch tape?
No. No, not Scotch tape. The different kinds of tape that you used to use back in the day for video and audio and data backup and tape.
Yeah.
Although Scotch tape, let me write that down because we might get to that.
That's a great idea right there.
There's so many different kinds.
Yes. Double-sided tape. Yes. Clear. There's the manila type of tape. There's
the frosted.
Tape. Oh, and
it's writing itself right now.
It is. You're right. We just
the show wrote itself. I'm compelled just thinking about it.
The history of Scotch tape.
What?
Contrary to public perception, Scotch tape did not originate in Scotland.
I was watching one of those Food That Made America shows.
Yeah.
They did a potato chip or a chip episode. And they had a guy sitting there talking, and underneath his name it wrote, here it said potato chip historian. And I'm like, how do you become a potato chip historian? That sounds awesome.
Wow.
I mean, I've been eating potato chips for 50 plus years. I think I might be a historian too.
It makes you think there's a lot of things you could probably claim as a title that you're not aware of. You're just not thinking about it, you know?
Yeah, you gotta dig for these. These aren't easy things. They're not just gonna give themselves to you. Oh shoot. What does this say? Oh, I just asked the Magic 8 Ball if you would make a show about Scotch tape.
Uh-oh. What did it say?
And what was the answer? My reply is no.
Seems to be pretty accurate.
That's pretty much dead on right there. And yet next week, you never know. We might hear it. That's cool because I just was looking. I was looking at it and I saw you had like Krull on there on your graphic on the header, and I just turned that back into the library recently.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, they had a double disc set, and I got to get it back because I never watched it. I it's like putting too much food on your plate at a buffet and you don't finish it all. I was like, I just started grabbing DVDs at the library when summer started. I'm like, oh, these are cool. No.
I had that on DVD. It's in my closet somewhere.
Yeah, they had it on Blu-ray at Menards for $5.
Yeah, the thing with let me say this, like all these new formats of video, and I guess the 4K Blu-ray is probably the last one they'll do, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But like every few years they bring out a new format, and it's like you got to buy the same movies over and over.
Right.
There's a new format. But at a certain point, it's like, look, I'm getting older. How good are my eyes? Do I really?
Exactly. Jeff and I have talked about that before, where you're like, do I get that on? Well, and it goes like this too, Cyrus. It goes like this. If I'm on Amazon, like The Searcher, I could have gotten that on Blu-ray, or King Creole. I could have gotten that. I always thought it was Kid Creole, but it's King Creole. But I could have gotten that on Blu-ray. But I'm like, is it really worth it? I mean, the quality of the film may or may not change. Now, Disney is a different thing. When you watch their HD versions, it's like they just made it. But these, I'm like, I can either spend $20 or I can spend $8. And I'm like, I just want to see the film. I just want to watch it and have that one in my collection because there's something special about it. But
also, it wasn't filmed in 4K. I mean, you got to wonder how much better is it?
That's a good point. Like, what are they doing to get it to that?
Yeah.
Like supposed 4K? Like, yeah.
Okay, so I have to ask you this because Lance had to bring this up. Have you ever heard of Megaforce?
Megaforce.
It's 1982. One of the least regarded hard rock pop albums was called Megaforce by 707. It's a brilliant record. And the movie, now that they've re-released it on CD, the CD has a bunch of the tracks that made it into the movie Megaforce. But the movie is...
I'm going to have to look this up because I'm not sure if
the movie is horrible. But you mentioned being a Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
And what kind of fan are you? Have you ever seen this rivalry between Pete and I? And Pete's not here, so damn it, he is here.
I don't think I ever heard of Megaforce. I don't.
Okay, well we can move back over to Star Wars. So, what kind of fan are you of Star Wars?
What do you mean by that?
Well, what kind of how do you regard Rise of Skywalker? Did you go see it?
Oh, okay. Oh man.
Okay. See?
All right. So here's the thing about Star Wars. So I grew up, obviously I was born in 77. So I grew up.
Yeah, it's that year.
we bought the toys. We had all the, we were fanatical about Star Wars. It was
Right.
it was as big as anything. Darth Vader was the ultimate bad guy. And we all wanted to be. Well, my cousin got to be Han Solo when we played, and that sucks. So I had to be, Luke. We made my other brother be Leia. He could just be Leia. but my point being, we were big time in the original Star Wars, as everybody was. Was our age, and when they brought out the prequels, we were very, very excited, and then of course there was an enormous backlash, and I think that most of us were probably a little bit too cruel and critical of the prequels. We really did not like Jar Jar. He really bothered us on a deep personal level, and and we felt like everybody had their thoughts, right? Now,
right.
My daughter discovered Star Wars about the time Episode 2 came out.
Okay.
We had a really, really good time going to the theater watching Episode 3. That was her favorite Star Wars, and for me, the Revenge of the Sith was very special for that reason. So I actually came around on the prequels early. I consider that early because so many other people in our age group despised those movies for many, many years, and to the point to where, George Lucas sold the thing off. He got tired of dealing with it, and we're responsible in a lot of ways for that. I own that L, as they say, as the kids say.
As the kids say.
And when Disney got a hold of it, we were all excited because we're like, well, if any company can do it that's not owned by George, it's gonna be Disney.
You'd like to think that.
We did, and we're like, J.J. Abrams, yeah, he could do this. And so anyway, I don't recognize the new movies. I don't consider them to be Star Wars. Like, Mandalorian is awesome. I love Mandalorian. It's great. I fully buy in on that. That's great. Mm-hmm. The cartoons that they've done, I think, are good, and I like what they've done with that. Yeah. These 3 movies they brought out recently are like the most expensive fan films ever made. They're like, me and my brother went and watched the last one in the theater, and we were literally everyone in the theater was just like, well, let's get this over with. Like, nobody was like, yay, Star Wars. There was none of the lightsabers and dressing up and all the stuff that people had done forever. It was so special, especially with those prequels, going to see those, seeing everybody dress up, and we'd play with lightsabers, and it was this whole thing, right? Yeah, it was a pride. It was a feeling of pride that you're going in. It's like Rocky Horror. It was bigger than that. It was the but I mean, it's that type of thing. This is my world, and I'm gonna dress in it and go to the movie. Yeah, and everybody did it, and it was really cool. And now thank God for Mandalorian, really, because I personally feel like Star Wars is ruined right now. Mm-hmm. And I feel like the toys aren't even appealing anymore. No, everyone's basically written it off, at least until Mandalorian started, to pick up popularity. And now I think there's some hope, a new hope, hope. Huh? Back to 1977. Yes. But these new ones were unbelievably terrible, and I hate to say that because I really wanted to enjoy them. I really tried to. Because I love Star Wars. I mean, I'm a fan. I went to the movie in '77 with my dad, and that will forever be one of my greatest memories. And then the next, when Empire Strikes Back came out, I went with my friend and his stepdad, and we sat through the movie twice because they didn't kick us out. So we sat through it again, and I'm like, this is brilliant. Third movie came out. I thought a little too Muppets, but it's okay. Still a good movie. Well, I was a little kid, so I didn't mind that.
Yeah, it was perfect for you. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
So, but that's why it's not my favorite. Empire remains.
What was that like? You were in an age where you could really appreciate the drama of that movie. What was that like?
It was amazing. It was again. We flipped out because you find out, he's his dad, and you're like, what? And we're like, do you want to sit through it again? Yes. And we just, we spent 5 hours in the theater because, it doesn't start right away. So we just sat there in the theater, we're 5 hours watching Empire Strikes Back.
Back then, though, time wasn't like it is now. Back then, we would wait in line to get tickets for a movie for hours. I mean, it was just what you did. Everything was waiting,
Yes. Yeah. Now it's just internet, order it, whatever. Yeah. Well, and I even think about that with my kids, and speaking of your retro, show, where things are different now, where it was totally different for my kids. As soon as they'd see a show, it came out on video or DVD. And then when I was a kid, I had to wait 30 plus years to get Johnny Quest on DVD.
You want to know how pissed I was that? Let me tell you something. So you mentioned you touched on
I poked the bear now.
So when I was a kid, we were supposed to go watch Tron in the movie theater.
Yeah.
My aunt was taking me, my cousin, my brother, and my cousin's stepbrother to go see Tron. We were so excited. We had the T-shirts. We've been buying the toys. We're going to go see this freaking amazing, awesome Tron movie, right?
Yeah.
And my cousin's stepbrother was late getting home from school, and so late that we missed the showing of Tron. And we're from a small town, so we were in the city to visit my cousin and my aunt and all them. So this was like our one was shot. This? Well, whenever 82, whenever it was the Tron came
so it's when it was out.
Yeah. I remember it because it was such a big deal. I was so pissed off about this. So
is this relative still alive?
Yeah. So we missed Tron and we didn't get to see it, and they didn't put it on video. It didn't come out on video for like a decade. So
is that right?
That's right. So there was no way to see Tron unless you caught it like on the Disney thing they would do on TV where they cut movies up into pieces and to show like a piece of it here, and then next week the second part of Tron.
You're like, no.
Yeah. So I was so mad about that forever. And that's what sucks is back then it was like they didn't bring everything out on video. Like they bring out some movies, but a lot of, if you missed it, a lot of stuff, good luck. Because unless you know some way to get it,
right.
That was it. There was no internet. There was no downloading or streaming or even like, even like I said, the black market of movies. Like I'm from a small town. There was no black market of movies.
Yeah, exactly. Same here. Yeah. It's pretty crazy with all that. I know over the years there have been some movies that didn't come out right away, but wow, I didn't realize it had been that long between. That's
a long time before Tron ever came out.
Good Lord.
On home video. Like we were like, it was just I didn't see it. Like I didn't get to see the full movie of Tron. It was probably about 10 years when they finally brought it out on video, and that was like, Tron.
I gotta get it.
Yeah. I remember how Disney used to do that though. Like they would bring a movie out, be like, okay, it's on video for a while, and then it goes back in the vault. And good luck. Sorry, you want to see Little Mermaid? Too bad.
That's right. It's not out, and you're gonna have to find it and spend. You have to, get a second mortgage to get a copy of it, so that you can see the penis in the artwork. So that's just what it's about.
I mean, why else watch The Little Mermaid? Really?
You're right. I used to work at the Disney store, so we used to. People would ask that, is this one available now? You're like, no, it's not. It's in the vault right now. But I have it. Jeff, did I give you a copy of Tron?
No.
Okay, I think I have an extra copy because I got it on Blu-ray.
Excellent.
So
I'll slip. Great. I haven't seen it on Blu-ray.
Yeah. What'd you think of the second one then?
Oh, I loved it.
Did you?
it had some, it had, you know how movies are. There was a couple of things where you're like, well, whatever. But overall, I thought it was really entertaining. And
Cool.
the only issue, which I got used to, was the Jeff Bridges thing with the clue, you know?
Yeah.
It was a little, that was early on in that whole like technology where they were figuring all that out, you know?
Right.
And it didn't look as good as it could have. So that was my biggest criticism, but it was fine. I mean, we come from a time when special effects were total garbage. So like, I was fine with it. It was, I thought the movie was really good. I would love to see, I mean, I guess it's kind of like too late at this point. I don't know, but I would have loved to have seen another one. I thought it would have been really cool to have because it seemed like they were going to make another one for a while.
That's what I thought too. And then I do have to ask though, you go back to Star Wars. Did you see Rogue One though?
Oh yeah. You know, so I have a totally different opinion about Rogue One now than what I did when I saw it. Okay.
Oh, really?
When I saw it, I didn't like it. And this always happens to me with movies that I end up loving. It always happens. First time I saw Pulp Fiction, I hated it. Took me,
Pulp Fiction.
I had to see Pulp Fiction like 3 times, and I was like, yeah, this is a good movie. I love it. And then I love that movie, you know. But this always happens to me with movies like that. So the first time I saw Rogue One, you know, it didn't have the Star Wars music. It didn't have the Star Wars opening.
Mm-hmm.
It was different. And I'm a old man who likes old things. Different sometimes can be hard for me. So the first time I saw Rogue One, I was like, I don't, you know, I'm like, I don't know about this. And, you know, but then I saw what they were going to do with Star Wars after that. You know, once you start to see the other movies, you go, hey, you know what? Rogue One's pretty good. And then you go back and watch Rogue One, you're like, this is really good, you know? So I really like Rogue One now. It's actually, I consider that to be the absolute best of any modern Star Wars since the George Lucas ones. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, I think some of the things when I rewatched the episodes 1, 2, and 3, some of the things I didn't like was the I don't like the directing. I don't like the, you know, Natalie Portman. I don't want to say it, but she was crap in that first one because she wasn't directed well. She was bland. She was completely vanilla, and not only her makeup, but you know, it was just one of those things where you're like, oh my God, she's so much better than this. We found out later because that was one of the first things I ever saw with her. And but she's so much. V for Vendetta is a brilliant film. Black Swan is a brilliant film, and she's great in the Thor movies. But you know that was bad. And they had the guy that looked at the camera. That pisses me off. Did you notice that?
Who are you talking about?
When they come in with Queen Amidala and they land that ship, and then the 2 guys come into the front or wherever she is. And they start talking to her. And then as they turn to walk away, the one guy turns and goes. The other guy looks right at the camera as he's turning. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm not here. This isn't a comedy. You don't have to look at me.
I don't think I ever noticed that, actually.
Neither did the director. And that pissed me off. I'm like, get that guy a sandwich and get him off my set.
Did he do one of these?
10-1, Jeff. That was the take where he finally just looked at the camera. I'm certain he probably did go.
That's funny.
There's 20 takes of him doing different variances of him.
Well, you know how you're right. I mean, George Lucas is notorious for just being the worst director. Like he's a genius. He knows he can come up with all this stuff. He's so good at that. But the best Star Wars movies are, I mean, pretty much the ones he didn't direct are, you know, they're just, I'm not going to say they're the best movies, but they're directed way better, you know?
I mean, those crap scenes with Amidala and what's his name? Anakin, when they're in their apartment
Yeah.
And they're here, and there's a window behind them with ships just going. I'm like, could you stop? Pull the curtain. This is driving me nuts. I'm like, just.
You got to
You're
remember.
like, what does that have to do with anything? It's got nothing to do with their conversation.
The problem is George Lucas. There was no one to tell him no.
Yeah, right.
So anything he wanted to do, they did, and they were happy to do it.
Yeah.
What? Don't get started with Stu on Spaceballs. What?
No, yeah, that's a bad subject. I don't like that movie.
You don't like Spaceballs?
No, Spaceballs is a piece of shit. Sorry.
Ooh.
If you want to watch funny Star Wars crap, watch, Robot Chicken or Family Guy.
What? Okay.
But Spaceballs,
they said not to get you started, so I won't.
Yeah, Spaceballs is it's stupid. It's stupid comedy. That's just not funny. I mean, he's the epitome.
I've never heard anyone say this before. You're the first person I've ever heard trash Spaceballs.
You're welcome.
I've literally never heard it from anyone. So it's like I'm seeing a unicorn right now. I'm like, I want to know more, but I don't want to. Everyone's telling me not to dig into this subject.
Not to dig into it. Well, it's just the humor's not good. I mean, it's the epitome of I stole another movie and made junior high jokes throughout.
Yeah.
There's no reason to make fun of it like that and just
okay.
A lightsaber around your penis. What is that's not even funny. I let alone it's not adult funny.
Okay. I'm getting where you're coming from now.
I'm like, I could have written this crap in junior high or 5th or 6th grade.
See, I was like 9 years old when that movie came out.
So and it's perfect for you then.
It was amazing for me.
Yeah.
For my demographic. It was great.
Exactly. Because you were making jokes like that at the time.
But we still love Star Wars. It was just it was funny to us.
Right.
It was
right.
But see, there's the difference. I get it.
Because
I understand
those parody jokes hit your age group.
Yeah. I got you.
For me, I was just like, good God. I mean, could you just rip off?
Yeah, I get it. For you, Star Wars
ripped off everything and made stupid jokes with it.
See, and this is exactly, you went through something with that, like what we went through with the prequel movies, where we were like,
yes,
we were like, what's this bullshit? What's this? And like, I understand.
I can see you coming out of the movie like that,
dude. We were so excited going in, and going out was everyone was so quiet.
Totally,
man. Ooh, it was
totally.
Bad.
Yeah, and that stupid lightsaber duel between Obi-Wan and Anakin in the lava, and I'm like, God, are we done yet?
My daughter loved that. I was like, okay, guys. After a certain point, you're like, okay, we get it.
I get it. You're done. You're finished. Just
it was like George Lucas is like, all right, so here's what we're gonna do. 30 minutes of nothing, just swinging lightsabers for 30 minutes. Go, and that's,
at which point it should have just been at their crotch.
But my daughter. Oh, you talking about for Spaceballs? I'm sorry.
No. I just was making a joke that by then, when you go that long, you might as well just have them start swinging from the crotch. But that, and then the scene that followed, where he goes, "No!" You're like,
what? Where Darth Vader screams no.
Who directed that scene?
Did you see what they did where they added that? They went back and changed the original Star Wars movies, and they added that to when he throws the Emperor down the shaft. And
no,
they did. That's in the movies now. That's in the Blu-ray version.
Wow.
They added him going no, and then throwing the Emperor.
Like it was like that's any better.
Oh, it's horrible.
Because that's a horrible scene.
I couldn't believe it when I saw it. I thought it was a joke because I saw clips of that on YouTube, and I was like, why would you? And then they're like, no, that's in the movie. And I'm like, what?
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I've always felt Star Wars needed more crotches.
So, Stuart, which movie do you think is funnier, Spaceballs or Phantom Menace?
Which one is funny?
Because when I saw Phantom Menace, I was hoping it was a comedy, but it didn't appear to be one.
This is great.
George Lucas tried with the Jar Jar thing. He was trying to be funny, like
Right.
he was trying.
Yeah, you're right. So he has no one to tell him no, because how else do you explain Jar Jar Binks?
I'm telling you,
everyone
like,
would be thinking, "Oh my god,
everyone's
what's
like,
wrong with this?"
everyone's like sweating profusely, going, "Okay, all right, sounds great.
I think this is going to work out well.
Yes, sir, Mr. Lucas."
Good one.
Got
boss. He's hilarious.
There's a clip of George Lucas, and this is a real clip of George Lucas watching the screening the first time of the Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
And like as soon as the movie's over, in the little screening theater, turn into Rick McCollum and going, "I think we may have gone too far in a few places." He actually said that, and but it was too late to do anything. Like it was too late at that point. It was done, and it was like,
God.
shit.
Like in Last Jedi, when he starts milking the teat of that thing on the hill, and you're like, "What? Why are we watching this? I don't know. I don't need to see this." First of all, you've just thrown the frickin' lightsaber already, so you've screwed yourself already. The movie's shit right now, and now you're milking the teat of some beast that lives on the island. I don't know.
You know, Disney had no plan. That's the thing. And I know that this is a subject that's been talked about like probably way too much by everyone on the internet. You know, the favorite thing for a few years was to talk about these movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had no plan. They, from one director to the next, completely changed everything they were trying to do. And I guess it seemed like, and I don't know enough about the behind the scenes to really talk about this, you know, in a serious way, but it seemed like they were kind of like adversarial with each other, like J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson kind of being like, "Oh yeah, well I'm going to do this," and "Oh yeah, well I'm going to do this." You know? It really did seem like there was this testosterone, you know, measuring contest of some sort taking place. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I never saw Rise of Skywalker. I would not go.
Oh, you need to see it because no, let me explain.
Okay, please. Somehow
you have to have a point to measure everything against.
But
no. Listen, let me just.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just telling you my perspective.
Okay.
In order to know what zero is, you have to experience zero. Like you have to know without like hearsay or what you might think it might be. You have to know what true horror is. and the only way to experience true unadulterated panic inducing disgust is to see that movie. That movie will define forever in your mind the absolute low bar that can never, no movie, let alone a Star Wars movie, should ever go beneath that bar. That is the worst movie I've ever seen. It is unbelievable.
Wow. See, there you go. For when Pete, once he sees this, then he's gonna know. See, that's gonna be the moment. I told Pete, you know, and I get it. He's got this childlike love of Star Wars. I've said this a million times, and that's cool. But I told him you'd have to admit that movie is crap, and I've never even seen it. See, here's my point, though.
Shouldn't you watch the film though?
No, but see, here's the point.
We just want you to suffer with us. That's really
that's the point right there. That is the point. So you all think I'm the smart one, and you're like, I want him to be dumb like me, or taken in like me.
You want to see this, don't you?
So the way I look at it is I'm like, no, I did exactly what you should do. If something's gone downhill, there's no reason to complain about it. Just don't go and see it.
You should see it.
No, I should not.
because you need to know how bad it can be. You really do need to know.
No. What? The next thing you know, you're gonna try to get me hooked on cocaine.
You gotta try it, bro.
seriously.
You gotta
You
try
gotta
it once,
do this.
just so you know.
Just you gotta know, man.
Come on, man.
Dude.
Don't be the only one. Come on.
Welcome to GoGameGo on Coke. Go Coke Go.
Like Rise of Skywalker. I think he even said it was jaw dropping.
So,
It was
it's certainly not
jaw-dropping.
pants dropping.
Well, depending on what you're doing with your pants dropped, it kind of might be.
If you're watching it in the bathroom, then that might be perfect. I feel a little constipated. Oh, well, there's a television in the bathroom and a copy of Rise of Skywalker. Go ahead, go in there, and that'll take care of it.
You know, I did a reaction video that I never made public on my channel for Rise of Skywalker, and it's literally the classic scene of George C. Scott watching the film, screaming, "Turn it off! Turn it off!" And then I added on the last little bit from The Exorcist 3 where he's talking, "I believe in evil and vile and hate. You son of a bitch." Yeah, it was that was my reaction. I never made it public though, because I was like, but I did make the video.
You'll have to send that to us.
We'll
have no problem showing it.
It's actually more work and more editing than was actually done for the movie.
I bet. Here you go, Jeff. Plan 9 from Outer Space versus Manos, Hands of Fate.
Yeah, I haven't seen Plan 9 from Outer Space, to be honest.
Those are some great stories from the making of that movie. Well, of course, they had Ed Wood, the movie.
I saw that. I saw the Ed Wood movie.
Yeah.
I never saw the original movies.
When they had to get Tor Johnson out of the hole. They show him going on the edge, and then they had to lift his ass out, and then he's like,
I love that scene where he hits his head, and that's a problem he'd have to deal with every day. That's real. Leave it in.
Oh, I need to watch that movie again.
George Lucas talking like that. I really could.
Yes.
The stormtrooper hit his head coming to the door. Leave it in. They deal with that every day. That had, because it's not like they didn't see it. They had to have known it was in the movie. I don't know.
Like Jeff and I saw, we were watching one of the Mystery Science Theaters years ago, and they had a movie where you could see the bottom half. They thought the camera was just going to be high on this guy, but they only had the upper half of the costume, and so then you can see the bottom half of the person. Just like in come on, the Evil Dead movie, Army of Darkness, and they just strapped dummies on the back of the horse, and they're just flopping back and forth.
I love old what do they call it? Practical effects. The old
practical effects. Yes.
Yeah, because man, sometimes it works and sometimes it don't. I love it.
Like when you watch somebody fall from 10 stories up and it's going ooh.
It's so obvious.
You're like, wow.
Even like little kids are like, that's not a person. Like, oh well.
Steve
So you
used to
turn
do
into
that
a
all the
rag
time when they fall down.
Yes.
You just see like 3 dummies just hit the ground. It's hilarious.
It can, if it's a comedy, it could actually be really good. It could be really
Right.
work. But like, they didn't always do that in comedies.
No, it's not like the fall from Die Hard. Yeah. And I got a kick out of that, hearing that story when they actually surprised him.
That was great. Yeah. Alan Rickman.
Yeah, what a great talent. That guy was amazing. Oh, here's one now. Look at this. I just got this movie. I bought it at the dollar store, I think. Invasion of the Body Snatchers with Donald Sutherland, and
I remember that. It's got a great ending. If you haven't seen it, don't ruin it for anybody.
Yeah.
I remember the day the Earth stood still. I mean, that was back in the 50s,
Oh,
60s. That was really well done.
Yeah. and The Thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, those.
Yeah. Obviously, that's legendary.
Mhm.
There's a channel on YouTube where they try to recreate like old effects from movies and stuff.
Wow.
It's a really cool channel. I don't remember the name of it, but they did like a thing where they tried to recreate the opening from The Thing, not
Yeah.
all the special effects in the movie, just that opening sequence. And it's really cool to see how it was done, because they go back to the original notes and everything to see how something was done and try to do that.
Wow.
Pretty awesome, you know.
Wow.
John Carpenter, that's a genius. That guy. Absolutely.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
I would love to see if I could get him on the show. That would be, you know,
we don't have forever, man. You know,
I know. That's why I'm like,
we
I got to do it quickly.
Yeah, I wish he would do more stuff, because he's a wealth of knowledge. I'm sure there's a lot of things that I would really love if he would like talk about, you know, that little things that he doesn't even think are important that would be so important to the history of what he's done, and maybe even the techniques of what he's done.
And you know, I don't ever have a problem with having you on the show if I were to get that.
Oh my God.
If you'd want to be on there with me, since you gotta, you know, you're thinking about those things. I have no problems doing that. So
John Carpenter made some of my favorite movies of all time. Absolutely.
And he did such an interesting spectrum that you don't think about. It's not all horror. It's not all adventure. It's, you know, he's got some other things thrown in there that you're like, oh, he did that.
You know, did you ever see Prince of Darkness? Did you ever?
I did not. It was on cable years ago when I was, you know.
Okay, well, in all seriousness, forget about the Star Wars thing. You do need to watch Prince of Darkness.
Yeah, because it's touted as one of his best.
Well, it's a movie, and I'm sure it still holds the same, maybe not the exact same weight that it did when it came out, because this is from like 87 or something like that.
Right.
But
right.
It's an intellectual movie. It makes you think about like stuff, about like your place in the universe and what's good versus evil and what that means, and the stories you've been told, and are they real or not real. And
right.
Seeing it back in the 80s, it had a probably different impact than what it would have now. But that's definitely one of my all-time favorite movies, because it's so scary, and not scary just like jump scare. It does have some of the traditional horror stuff, but it's scary because it makes you, it gets in your head and makes you think about stuff, you know, like The Thing did, right? The Thing. Yeah. You know, good luck watching that movie by yourself late at night, because, you know. Yeah.
And The Exorcist.
Well, yeah. The Exorcist. You know, holy crap, yeah.
That's another one that gets in your head and you're like, yeah.
But man, you have to see Prince of Darkness. And if you don't know how it ends, please avoid figuring that out until you watch it, because the ending of Prince of Darkness is legendary. It's one of the all-time most memorable endings to a movie you'll ever see.
Wow. And he did a lot of soundtracks to a lot of his movies.
The soundtrack to Prince of Darkness sounds a lot like The Thing soundtrack, but it's got a distinct, and Alice Cooper's in that movie. And, you know,
wow.
Dude, I'm telling you.
That's right. That's why I noticed it recently. That's why they were talking. Yeah. That's why I was watching a video about that.
It has some famous 80s actors in it. Like that nerdy guy from Riptide is in it. And did you ever see, oh man, I'm drawing a blank. Simon and Simon. Did you ever see Simon and Simon? Okay. Not Gerald McCraney, but his brother with the mustache. He's in that. He's like the main guy in that movie.
Yeah. He was in Major. Did he do like he did another sitcom too, right? Where he was in the military and had a daughter, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about the other guy. The
blonde guy.
Yeah, he's in the movie. He's like,
that's right. That's right. That's right. And who's the woman that's in that? Is it is Adrienne Barbeau in that?
I don't know. I'm not sure about that.
Because he did The Fog too. She was in that, and she was in Escape from New York.
It might be. Yeah, it might be. It's really awesome. Yeah. Yeah, Halloween. The original Halloween. Yeah.
Oh man, that was killer.
That was
Halloween 2 was good too. But both of those are really good.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Although when you watch it now, it's kind of interesting because you start realizing you're thinking about the geography of everything. Like she walked to certain places, and then now they're driving for a long time to get there.
Don't worry about all that.
Yeah, I don't. I never did. And then all of a sudden, it was just recently I was watching it. I'm like, okay, so didn't they just walk there before?
You know what I like to do? I like to when I watch a movie, if I'm having a good time, I just have a good time. Like,
well, and I can do that on certain ones. Yeah.
Yeah. I will overlook all kinds of crap if I'm having a good time. Like I'm pretty good about that.
Yeah, I have a tough time with that sometimes. I'm just like, I don't know. I call it hook in the nose, and they're just dragging me through it. You're like, really? Yeah. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Well, there's certain things that are a little too much. Like for you, it was the guy looking at the camera. For me, it was Jar Jar. That was like, okay, this is a bridge too far. I'm not going to be able to deal with this. This is not okay.
A bridge too jar?
A bridge too jar.
Huh?
Too Jar Jar.
Too much Jar Jar?
I always remember too much Jar Jar.
See, why didn't they just do that? Like, if you're going to put Jar Jar in, then let's just have some goofy jokes, right? Let's go to the next level with it,
Well, that's funny that you mentioned that. I just finished. Well, I don't know if I want to talk about it because Jeff hasn't watched it yet. I'm going to wait. I don't want to ruin it for Jeff. There's a thing on the WKRP bonus disc that I just watched last night because I just finished the whole series. And there's something on the bonus that talks about one of the episodes. And it was like the only thing that I can compare it to, it's Hugh Wilson's Cherry Pie. It was because Janie Lane hated that song Cherry Pie.
Yeah.
For Warrant, he hated it. They were like, we need a hit, so he wrote it, and it was like huge. And he's like, shit.
I remember.
So that's what this thing was like. That's what this is like. It's a cool story off of that bonus disc. Did you watch WKRP at all? Have you ever seen it?
Dude, yes, I watched WKRP. See, I'm a little younger, obviously, but they ran WKRP on
obviously.
Well, we've mentioned it a couple of times.
Look at these two.
I'm younger than you, obviously. I mean,
obviously, you guys are ancient, and I'm not so much that way.
I mean, it goes without saying. But like when I was a kid, we would watch. There's this channel called WGN out of Chicago.
Yeah. Yep.
And they're like syndicated. Everyone has WGN, right?
Yep.
And they would run. We watched all the cartoons that G.I. Joe, Transformers, whatever.
Yes.
WKRP would always come on after, different shows and stuff. So I watched WKRP like all the time. Like,
oh, cool.
Almost every day, practically.
Wow.
Yeah. So
there were episodes that I'd never seen before.
That's what I was going to ask you. How many seasons are there? Because I'm 4 seasons, really? Because I thought there was more than that.
No.
Because they went through like 2 different guys that were the old guy in charge. One of them ended up being the Maytag repairman later.
Well, he was always Gordon Jump was always the boss.
Oh, okay. I thought
the only guy.
They never changed anybody.
In the first series. They never changed anybody.
Yeah. Oh,
but then they came out with they came out with like not a reboot, but like a down the line. It was a resurgence. Let's put it that way. So they brought it back
in the very beginning, though. Maybe I must be thinking
the mother was different.
The mom.
That is the one.
Was only on what, one episode?
One episode. The pilot she was on.
Okay.
Yeah, and then they
who's
changed.
Your favorite character? Who of all? Everyone says it was Johnny Fever, but
I love Herb Tarlick. He's so funny.
Yeah, right. He was funny, man. He was great.
That's hilarious.
He's not one of my favorites because first of all, I don't. His character bothers me too.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Why? Because he's just kind of weird, or
just because he's always he's always hitting on Jennifer, and that's not cool. And he has a crap attitude, and I'm like, just go and do your job, dude.
Yeah,
know?
you have such a different take on things from me. That's so interesting. I like that.
Yeah.
What about like Les Nessman? What do you think of
Oh,
Les?
brilliant.
Yeah,
I
he
love
was
Tim too.
hilarious. He was awesome.
Yeah. There's something, Jeff. I'm eager for you to watch it because I don't. Oh, there's the classic. Here you go. We have to ask you, Cyrus.
All right.
All right, because Jeff and I not only can we exist very well at WKRP, but we can exist very well on Gilligan's Island as well.
Oh,
Because he
okay.
digs one and I dig the other.
Okay.
So who would you guess is the Jennifer?
Okay, so Jennifer. I don't know. Who's Jennifer?
You mean who prefers Jennifer?
Yeah.
Between us
Yeah,
two,
but
or prefers
Jennifer
Bailey?
from WKRP?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So Lonnie.
These are the two women on WKRP.
Okay, so that's an impossible dilemma for me because young me is all about Jennifer because it's Lonnie Anderson in her absolute prime.
Yeah.
But the older me is like Bailey's pretty awesome, because she's the repressed, hot, nerdy chick who, is ready to just let loose
She's gorgeous.
a little bit.
Well, here's a
And
third
she's-
choice
yeah,
for
you're
you.
Well, since it goes without
Well,
saying.
now-
What were we talking about earlier? Of course, obviously.
Maybe in
I
20
mean-
more years, your opinion will change again, and it'll be down to Mama Carlson.
That's it. All I can think is you and I are down to fisticuffs now, Jeff.
you gotta admit. I mean, this was Lonnie Anderson at Burt Reynolds' perfection. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This was,
Yeah.
It's tough
Well-
to say no to that.
Well,
I mean,
Jeff is a Jennifer and I'm a Bailey.
How do
Yeah,
you-
there's Papa Pete.
I mean, I gotta say Bailey is obviously really great, but
Yeah.
I'm probably still gonna go with Jennifer just because that's I mean that's Lonnie Anderson. That's I
Yeah.
mean top shelf,
What-
Michelle Pfeiffer level, that's as good as it
Ooh.
gets. So
Michelle Pfeiffer. Yeah. So the thing I really realized when I rewatched that show recently is that she played that part beautifully.
yeah.
She did such a good job. I didn't remember, her just nailing that part and just
Yeah.
being
It
the
was a
strong
really-
woman. She was strong, caring within all of this outer beauty. She had all this, this motherly thing that she did, and she, watched out for everybody and all that stuff. And, it's kind of cool. It was really cool. She did a great job.
I mean,
And that's what pisses me off about Star Wars.
Everything
have
comes
shit
back
for
to Star
female
Wars.
characters.
It's all about Star Wars. I
It is.
understand.
It all comes back to that shit for female characters after Rogue One. I mean,
I don't even think Rey classifies as a character. I don't know what that is. I don't. That's the thing. Anyway, we don't really
Yeah.
need to go back through all that.
Well, what was funny is I used to work at the Disney store. I worked for the Disney store for 6 years.
Wow.
And then when I was working at the school, we took our students out one day and we went to the Disney store at an outlet mall that we have here. Well, and by then it was Marvel and Star Wars was in the store. I'm like, man, I'd have been in trouble working
Yeah.
here. So I had two women. I don't know what, whether I still had the Disney cast member vibe going on with the hair even. And they were like, excuse me. I'm like, yeah. And they said, we have, I don't know, a nephew, whatever it was, that we want to get him this phone case. And they have this one with, oh, wow. Why can't I say his name now? Because I don't like him. That's why. The new character, Driver's character. Why can't I say it?
Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ren. And then they had another phone cover that had a stormtrooper on it. And I just looked at it. I didn't know anything about the movie yet. I hadn't seen Kylo Ren in the movie yet. And I said, Go with the stormtrooper, because the stormtrooper is always there. They're always faithful. You never wonder about them. And what if this new character turns out to be shit? And then now he's got a phone case that's got this crappy character on it. So they got a stormtrooper. So
I got to ask you guys a question.
Mhm.
I'm glad that Jeff came back because I want his opinion on this also. We're talking about classic Disney. We're talking about Star Wars. I got to know. I have my thoughts. Don't let my opinion in any way sway you, so I'm not going to tell you what it is. But what did you think of The Black Hole, the movie The Black Hole?
it was good.
Jeff, what did you think?
I'm trying. Who was in that? I'm trying to see if I saw.
The Black Hole, Anthony Perkins was in it. Robert Forster was the main. He was the captain.
Yeah.
Maximilian Schell.
Maximilian Schell. That's who I was trying to think of.
Yeah, he was the. What was the? Oh man, I can't remember the bad guy's name. And then there was the robots. They had the Vincent, the floating robot that was sort of R2D2 ish, and then they had, Maximilian.
This is from 1982.
Yeah. I was
No,
just
I've
about to
never
ask.
seen this movie.
You've never seen The Black Hole?
Ah,
I own it.
No.
Gotta go.
all right.
You guys
Thank
are
God we
frogs.
waited to talk about this till now.
This show is fake. Everything about it is wrong. No one watched the show. Everyone unsubscribe. No, you got, dude. I don't know if the problem with going back to watch these old movies is they're old, man. Like if you didn't see them when they came out, you're gonna have a very different take on them now.
Well, but I will say, Jeff's favorite movie is
A 1968 sci-fi movie. Yeah.
What was it?
2001: Space Odyssey.
2001.
Oh, really? That's your favorite
That's-
movie?
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
And that's
That's
back
his-
from 68.
Yeah,
That
might
came
be-
out the same year I came out.
So you could go either way with The Black Hole. Then you might
Yeah.
be like, he could be like, "Oh yeah, this is really cool," or you could be like,
Well,
"Oh my god, this movie is such trash. This is the worst movie I've ever seen in my life."
the
I
thing
want to
about
show it to him
Space
just to see if he
Odyssey-
can do that.
I just want to
Space
see you
Odyssey,
smoking
the-
a cigarette with like a Frenchman. This movie is garbage. I cannot believe this movie was even made.
It's gonna have
Who
all
has
those
these
long
people with
handles,
this
long
stupid
cigarette holders on it.
sci-fi?
You'd have the Cruella holder on it.
Yes, exactly. I need to, just slowly trashing the movie, talking about methodically every little tiny detail that you didn't like, And then look at her hair. Who does her hair? Why would she do her hair this way? I do not believe this color at all. This color is fake to me. Oh, man. But no, The Black Hole is, I love that movie.
It's got a great soundtrack too.
Oh, yeah. And it's a weird movie, weird ending. Yeah, but it has some badass stuff in it, and I would love to see that remade. That would be
Space
great.
Odyssey. Actually, the special effects, not really special effects, but just the ship from the outside, seeing it, and the inside. It's amazing looking.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't look like it was done in '68. It looks fairly modern.
The sequence where where he's walking and the whole set is like moving, and it looks like he's actually walking on the inside of the thing.
Yes.
It even today you see that and you're just like, what? Like they really built this set, and
I'm looking at The Black Hole here, and it looks like a 1979 movie.
Yeah, you probably. I don't know if you like
that
it.
stuff doesn't bother me though. I mean, I'll watch
goofy.
Doctor Who from the '70s. I don't care. It's
if you can watch Doctor Who, you can watch The Black Hole because
I have no problem with that.
Doctor Who, yeah. But we must not let them succeed. We must destroy.
exterminate.
Yeah, if you can deal with that, then
if you can deal with that, you have that or Jar Jar Binks. Which one?
With Jar Jar, I mean that's uncomfortable for a lot of other reasons.
That's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
What'd you think of my new character? Well,
somebody needed to tell him, man.
I was uncomfortable.
George Lucas, he would have been fine if he would have just had one of his buddies, bring Spielberg or, one of these guys, one of his old school buddies, and have him just sit there and just screen like not even the movie, like before you get to that point, like
Right.
do a read through of the script and just have your
Right.
buddy tell you, dude,
Yep.
what are you doing? You
Yep.
know, you haven't spent your money yet, so don't do this, you know?
Absolutely. Oh,
no.
Jeff, what's your wife saying here? Ouch.
I've told a story before, but this is how much I like Space Odyssey. It's like 3.5 hours long.
Yeah.
I used to work nights. I got home around 2 a.m, and someone at work had given me a DVD of it to go watch. And I watched it until like 5:30 in the morning, and I was so wound up because I thought this was such a great movie. I should have been sound asleep, but because most people, even when they're in the afternoon, they'll fall asleep watching Space Odyssey.
I gotta admit, I've never made it to that movie without falling asleep. I'm being honest with you. Like
I did.
That's most people.
I did. I watched it recently. I'd never seen it. And because of Jeff's love of it, I watched it and I enjoyed it. I thought it was well played.
I think I could watch it now and probably be okay. But like when I was a kid, we watched, I grew up with Star Wars, you know, it was like, oh, here's a space movie. What? Because I remember when 2010 came out with John Lithgow and all that.
Yeah.
I watched that and I thought that was interesting. I liked that movie. And I was like, oh,
and
there's a prequel to this? Let me go watch that.
Yeah. And what rock star did work on that soundtrack?
On 2010? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He was. We'll throw that out there. Does anybody know who worked on that soundtrack?
I didn't like 2010 as well, anywhere near as much. It just was. I thought it was an okay sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
Where I thought Space Odyssey was like the greatest.
I had never seen anything like it when I was a little kid. Like for me, it was like I was discovering science stuff watching that movie. You know, I was like, Europa. What's Europa? My brother would be like, oh, that's one of the moons of Jupiter. Oh, really? And look what they're doing with the. It had some cool moments. It had some really cool stuff that happened in that movie.
JD, you're so close, and that's a good answer too. But you're really close with this one, and especially because Stuart Copeland does so much soundtrack work. He did the soundtrack work for the why can't I say his name? The Edward Woodward. It was on TV, and now Denzel Washington's done too. I keep wanting to say the Equalizer. Yeah, he did the soundtrack for that. But no, that's really close though. Stuart Copeland. What's like right next to that? Yep, that's it. Andy Summers. Yep. Yeah, that's great tune he did for it too.
Yeah. You know, Cyrus, you mentioned about trying to watch Space Odyssey as a kid. I tried watching when I was a kid too, and it was like 20 minutes in, and it's still monkeys jumping around. I'm like, what the hell is this? I'm like, this isn't science fiction.
Right.
I ended up just watching something else. So I didn't even get to that was just a setup.
Dude, I had the exact same experience. Like, it was like, my brother was like, no, this is the movie. I'm like, this is not the movie. I'm like, no, look, there's the monolith. You remember 2010? And I was like, but this doesn't make any sense. And it just kept going and going. And I was like, and then after that, they finally started showing space stuff, but it was just like the absolute slowest symphony music they could possibly find in the back vault. And let's bring that out and put on really cool looking space stations, but you're just going to see them like slowly turning in space. And I'm like, this is like, I was like, please let this get interesting. Please let this get interesting.
Cyrus is going, I could just see him on the set going, Steve, slow the ship down. Slow it down. Slow. That's too fast.
Oh man, I'm drawing a blank.
You're like, it's not a dryer, it's a spaceship. Slow it down.
Stanley Kubrick I couldn't think of his name for some reason. Stanley Kubrick's like, it's not slow enough. Slower. Like Stanley, we slowed it down as much as it will possibly go. Slower.
Dude, you're gonna put people to sleep. I don't care. Slower.
Fuck them. Slower.
My wife
that's
just
how
said,
he was, man. He was just like, you're gonna do what I want. I don't care if anybody likes it. It's what I want. Like, okay.
Here's a comment from my wife: 2001 Space Odyssey versus
English.
Patient.
I've never seen English Patient, so I can't.
Don't even about it. It is so painful.
Oh, that and the piano.
Oh,
the piano.
Yeah, with what's his head that was in. I was just gonna say something about Pulp Fiction. Harvey Keitel, yeah.
Yeah, I never saw that. I saw The
Yeah.
Pianist, which was
Right.
a
Right.
good movie. It was really
The
good.
pianist. I remember the first time I ever heard that word in grade school. We laughed.
Pianist.
Pianist.
It's
Wait,
not a real
What'd you
word.
say?
This
Can you
word's not
say
real.
that?
Yeah. What did
This
you
is
go to
great.
the office? But I was talking about someone that plays the piano.
But I'm the teacher. I don't care. Get it to the office,
You think I'm stupid?
lady. Little Missy. I don't know what your deal is.
I've been a teacher for 25 years. I know what you're doing. Like I just said the get to the office. Okay.
Isn't it about time you took a nap?
As you walk out, you say Uranus.
Ooh.
Trust in the monkeys. Oh man. Yeah, it's look at this. It needed the heavy metal soundtrack. Oh, the heavy
man,
metal
can you imagine?
soundtrack.
Can you imagine 2001 with a heavy metal soundtrack?
I would love to I'd love to do that.
Stairway to Heaven during the opening.
Oh
sequence?
yeah.
That'd be
Yeah,
great.
with that slow moving ship and the do.
You know, there is an entirely different soundtrack for that movie.
Really?
They Stanley Kubrick commissioned someone to do a soundtrack for it,
The
and while they were
Archies?
waiting for it to be done, they put in all that classical music. And by the time they were done, they're like, I like this, so they just kept it. So this guy
Wow.
wrote this whole score for the movie, and it was never used.
Wow.
And then what performer used that in the beginning of his show?
I don't know.
Oh.
Elvis.
Oh, okay. I thought we were talking about the
the pianist was really big.
it was huge. It was huge.
That's what she said. Oh man. Yeah, Elvis used it when he was in Vegas.
Wow.
So, yeah, something I learned on this Searcher album about all that was it is kind of crazy as a performer when you don't get feedback from the crowd, especially like Elvis was used to, with everybody just like the Beatles screaming in the front row and going nuts. In Vegas when he did that, there were high rollers who were all sitting down in the first God knows how far out. And so he wasn't getting any feedback from the crowd except for way back. And so they said he really disliked it.
Yeah.
And I can totally get it because they don't care. They've just paid a lot of money and they just want to see a show. So they sit in their seats and watch the show.
So that's what's so hard doing YouTube videos. We've got no audience feedback.
We should just have a video that runs down below with people going,
Play your own clips of your own.
and have laugh tracks.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now that was funny.
Laugh.
We could do it like MASH, where it's like sometimes there's a laugh track and sometimes there's not, and no one.
And
Or
sometimes
doing surgery, we'll cut the laugh track.
Yeah.
And what
People
about
are
when they
confused
stick
by it.
a laugh track in and you're like, that wasn't even funny. I don't know.
Oh my god! Like any sitcom from the '90s is like you go back and watch now, and you're just like, really? Or the early 2000s, like early 2000s, you're just like, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's brutal. It's brutal.
Yeah,
Oh, speaking of, go ahead.
I was going to say about sitcoms. It's really interesting to watch, like some good sitcoms from the 50s compared to like you're saying the 90s. The difference is they would have scenes sometimes where they would barely talk, but they'd be doing something that would lead to a joke.
Yes.
Where even today, like there's almost no silence in a sitcom. It's constant talking. And that
Interesting.
drives me crazy because when you go back and watch some of the old stuff, like just Andy Griffith, I mean, they'll have scenes with Andy and Barney in a car, and they're just kind of mumbling to each other here and there, but it's funny stuff. And
Yeah.
it's like you don't have to have a joke every 10 seconds or even words every 10 seconds.
Right.
I saw I don't know if it was a documentary or an interview. I can't remember, but there's a guy who created the laugh track, and he invented the laugh track machine, the one that they used for all of the stuff,
Yeah.
And he talks pretty extensively about that process of over the decades, how the TV industry basically did that, where they would just slowly transform these shows into just we can't have any silence. It's got to be wall to wall this and inserting things whether it really belong there or not. And it was all just this cookie cutter kind of factory thing. It was just like going through the assembly line, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like advertising. Doing an ad, some people insist on filling every open space with something, and others do it where it's really minimal. You have a lot of white space, and I mean, it's a whole different feel.
Yeah.
To it, it's the same thing. Yeah, with the laugh track, you don't constant laughing.
Yeah,
it's like nothing's this funny.
I did a little bit of radio when I was in college. I went.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. And on the, our GM for the station, he had this like, he was like deathly afraid of any dead air. Like if there was any kind of like dead air of any kind, he considered that like you're wasting our money. Like we're broadcasting, there should be something being broadcast, you know, like,
right.
It's not like it's just interesting. The mindset of, like you're saying, how that sort of attitude was so prevalent. And you're right, there was both sides of that. You know, there was different ways of looking at it, but at least my experience was very commercial, which was, we can't have any kind of, someone needs to be talking. There's some music needs to be playing. A spot needs to be running. Something needs to be going here, you know, and God forbid something happens and there's the actual dead air because something's happened, you would literally, like, you could hear people running from across the entire building.
yeah, exactly.
Good times.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun doing that. They had a radio station that was it served the tri-state area, and it was right by my campus. So I went and did that for 9 months until they fired me.
What time period was this? Like,
that was 1986.
Oh, so you were in it when everything was real broadcasting. Okay.
Yeah, vinyl and carts and everything, just like WKRP-ish stuff.
Mine was 96, 97 in that period. So I caught the very end of all that, right as they were beginning that digital transition.
Yeah.
People don't really know. I don't know if anybody in the audience that watches knows, but real broadcasting doesn't really happen anymore. Now it's all like this automated BS.
Yeah.
It's not like it used to be.
I might be heading back for the radio a little bit coming up soon. Yeah, I'll have more news on that sometime. Probably in September, I'll have more news on that.
Well, I would be very interested to hear about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I really enjoyed working on the radio. It was a lot of fun. I learned a big lesson there that I taught my kids, and I had a head DJ. That was back in the time. That year was when, and DJC will appreciate this. That's when Run DMC got together with Aerosmith.
Yeah. And
everybody, it was all over MTV. I was getting requests because I played it on the weekend, but Radio and Records hadn't added it yet. And so
you were in the top 40 or something like that? Okay.
Yeah. And I had people requesting it like nobody's business. And I knew we had it. And the program director had it in his desk. And I had gotten so many requests for it. I just, the hell with it. And I just went out there, grabbed it out of his drawer and played it. And they called me in on Monday and they're like, don't ever get in my drawer again. And I was like, sorry, dude, I'm just giving the people what they want. I'm like, I won't do it. That's fine.
They didn't fire you for that? Like right then?
No, they didn't fire me until I said I couldn't work on Thanksgiving. That's what it was.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. My wife was in the studio one night and she goes, "You're working on Thanksgiving?" I go, "No, I'm not working on Thanksgiving. I won't be here." And she goes, "That's what the schedule says." I go, "I think that's like an old schedule or something. That's not current." And she goes, "Look at it." And I did. And sure enough, it said I worked on Thanksgiving. And I called them and I said, I have a problem with that. And they're like, "What's the problem?" I go, "I won't be here." So I'm a traditional kind of guy. I spend Thanksgiving with my family. So, and I was in school, so we were on break. So I wasn't going to hang out.
Was that them trying to get you to quit? Was that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I mean, I did a good job. I mean, this is the story that I think I've told before, maybe on Hammer Away, but the one that I always teach my kids, or that I taught my kids, and I teach other young adults now, is when my lead DJ called me into his office and he goes, all that stuff you talk about the bands and their history and stuff when you play a song? I'm like, yeah. And he goes, people don't give a shit. And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I'm like, so I, he goes, just cut it down. Just don't do all that. I'm like, so of course I was not happy, and I left, and I'm like, you know what? This weekend when I do the show, fuck you, man. I'm just gonna only do what I gotta do, and that's it. And Saturday night was one of the best shows I ever had because I wasn't concerned about saying anything. It was real tight. I played a lot of music, and it was really good. So on Monday morning, I went into him and I thanked him. I said, thanks for making mention of that. I said I had the best show I ever had on Saturday night. Because it doesn't matter. Am I ever going to see him again in my life? No. Does his opinion make my life? No.
It's just funny the egos that you run into.
Oh yeah.
People want to tell you things like that. It's so much like, it's like, come on, man.
It's also kind of interesting especially when you're younger, if someone at work gives you a rough time or basically kind of tells you you're not very good at it. It's kind of funny to think back, 10 years in the future when you're looking back like, that was so stupid. Why did I even care?
Right.
That person meant nothing to me, and it doesn't affect my life whatsoever.
Yeah.
Well, what I get as I get older is I see why they did it, and I realize how petty and stupid that was for them to even. And I'm like,
right.
Wow, that's what a shitty person. Like,
yeah.
And you think what they must have, what must have happened to them for them,
Yes.
It's like
we think a lot alike. That's exactly what I said when the first time we interviewed Tommy Tallarico. I said, there's haters out there. Yeah, whatever. And they're just doing things for a certain personal agenda. But what's really sad is that they don't have anything better to do with their life than to try to make other people's miserable. That must be a sad life to feel like you have to be out there making something hell for somebody else in order to feel good about yourself.
Somebody told me something really interesting today. And it wasn't related to anything of that, but it was just interesting that it was presented to me in this way. And it was something to the effect of, you'll never see a happy hater.
Mm-hmm.
That was me, Cyrus.
Was that you that said that?
Yeah, it was me.
Okay. Well,
I'm trying to think.
That's why I remembered it then, Jeff. I just didn't remember the exact wording, but
because you posted some things.
Yeah, but I wasn't talking about this specifically, but it's relevant here. That's really interesting.
I think I said, from my experience, successful people want others to succeed, and unsuccessful people want others to fail, which is why you never see a successful hater.
Thank you. That's exactly right. Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
And it's true. It's like, people only, when you're successful, you want other people to be successful because you're all happy with your life. You're good with it.
Yeah. And I, the other thing is too, the people that they rope in to their misery, they don't want to hang with those people anyway. Yeah. They're like, you make me popular. That's great. And you're like, okay, why don't you hang with them? And probably 10-1, they're not. Like Scar in Lion King. Did he want to hang with those hyenas? No, he was disgusted by them, but they got his job done. Right. But was he going to hang with them later? No,
he was not. He was not going to.
No, he was not.
It's very poignant thought.
Cyrus with some poignance. No, he was not.
Yeah.
Now I see how you were on the radio.
Well, I wanted to ask you something about games. I I think we started talking about games when the show came on, right?
We were talking about it for a minute. Yeah, I remember. I vaguely remember.
I liked his shirt.
Oh yeah, this whole thing.
Castlevania, and you have a Neo Geo, right?
Ooh, not anymore.
Oh.
I have owned 2 of them, and the last one, well, I sold them both. The first one I sold because I had to. I needed the money, and I had to sell it. And then I regretted it, and I ended up buying another one. And I had it for many years. And then I ended up selling it because I just wasn't playing it because it was really inconvenient to play. And I only had a few cartridges, and I just was not going to spend, I spent $200 on Burning Fight. It was the last cartridge I bought for Neo Geo. And I said, this is way too much money to spend for a game. And I said, I don't ever want to do this again. So I had sort of made up my mind at that point that I was going to probably end up selling Neo Geo, but I held on to it for a long time. And then eventually I was like, the longer I keep this thing, it's big and it's bulky and it takes up a lot of room, and something will happen. This thing's going to get screwed up at some point. So I was like, Neo Geo emulation, as much crap as I talk about emulation, Neo Geo emulation is basically perfect. Like, it's very, very good. And I actually have a really good arcade stick that's better than the sticks for the real Neo Geo. Those sticks are really not that great. They look great, but
some of the original ones that came with the system.
Yeah. So yeah, I ended up selling it maybe a year ago, a while back, and I don't regret it because I got a crap ton of money for it, and I just wasn't going to use it. When I play Neo Geo games, occasionally I would break it up, but it was a huge pain in the ass because this thing's big, and like I said, mine was RGB modded, so I couldn't even hook it up to these CRTs. Like, these don't even have component video support, so I couldn't even use it on these CRTs. And I was like, well, then I can only play it on an LCD. And at that point, that's when there's just a lot of things that added up, and I was like, I think I'm just gonna let this go. So unfortunately I don't have a Neo Geo, but anyway, sorry.
That's one of those systems if I had unlimited money, I'd go get one because I always thought it was cool. I remember that's one of the few systems that I didn't have, like main systems. Cause I remember seeing that at, was it Electronic Boutique, I think, back in the 90s. And I'd go in there and I see the Neo Geo, and I was like, my God, it's $600. And look at the games, and they're like $200. And at the time, I didn't know anything about it. I was like, why is anyone buying this? I didn't get it. I didn't realize it until years later that the cartridges were the arcade board, Yeah. It wasn't emulated. It wasn't no, it was close to the arcade. It was the arcade game in your house. And
the cartridge had both the Japanese and American version on it. So like my Neo Geo had the Unibios in it. So I could literally pick, even though I had a Japanese Neo Geo, I could play American games, just go in the Unibios and set it to USA, and every one of my games was the American version, or vice versa, depending on what I wanted to do. So yeah, they had the real thing. It's really cool. I'm not saying it's not really cool. So me selling my Neo Geo is not like an indictment of, well, you shouldn't buy one of these, but I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying, for me, I had to make that choice, and I think you and I are kind of in the same boat here. We always saw the Neo Geo in the magazines, and we always kind of fantasized about having one, but I didn't have one back in the day. I played it in the arcades, so I actually had a lot more experience with Neo Geo, either in arcade or on MAME, playing emulation, than I had with the real AES system. So having the AES was a great experience to have. I absolutely am glad I owned a couple of Neo Geos, but for me, it didn't make sense to try to make that like okay. So I'm not really a collector. I buy old consoles because I want to play them. Right. Like, I don't buy, I don't have a Master System 2 sitting back here because I just want to have a Master System too. I buy it because I want to play it on that TV. Like that's why it's sitting there. It's hooked up. So when the Neo Geo sort of became more trouble for me than what I wanted it to be, and I felt like I could get just as good of an experience a different way, then that's why I decided what I did. But Jeff, get you a Neo Geo. If you want one, it's amazing and you will absolutely love it. And if I still had mine, I would have sold it to you.
It's probably just way out of my price range, but this red
true.
arcade stick right here is the closest thing I'll get to it. If I can point to it, there you go.
Oh yeah,
that's the SNK, AES arcade stick that they sold last year.
That's badass, actually.
It came with what did it come with? 40 games, 20 games? I can't remember. But yeah, it works as a console where you can plug it right in and play the games off the stick, or you can put it in stick mode and use it as like a PC arcade stick.
Huh.
That's pretty good, dude.
There's an adapter for the Switch. I tried it. I couldn't get it to work. I mean, it would work for about 10 minutes and then it would just stop.
Why are you lying about the Nintendo Switch? You're telling lies and trying to say things up against Nintendo. Who do you think you are? Never mind.
But yeah, that thing is really cool. If you're in a Neo Geo and you can't get a AES system.
Well, yeah, I actually bought almost every Neo Geo game they have on the PS4, like digitally.
Yeah,
I bought I don't know how many games that is. I sold my PS4, so I don't. Unfortunately, I don't. I still have them in the cloud wherever that is. So when I get another PS4 or PS5, whatever down the road, I'll have all that. And that joystick does work on that. It's PS4 compatible. So I have that. I'm good. But that's cool. That is a cool. I've seen those before. And is it 720p? Is that what it outputs to HDMI?
I can't remember if it's that or 1080. I can't remember.
It doesn't really matter because it's upscaled.
It looks good.
Yeah.
I mean, I play it with the pixels on, not the kind of blended look. I always like the just actual pixels.
Yeah.
And cool. There's very easy mods for this where you can add as many games as you want.
See, that's how much did you pay for that?
This one was on sale when I got it. It was either $90 or $100 on sale.
Oh,
I think normally it was like $140 or so. I don't know what they cost now, to be honest.
Dude,
or I don't know if they still sell them.
My joystick, that's just a joystick, was like $130. So that's a really good deal that you got.
Yeah.
Well, they had they had a deal right before, I think it was before Thanksgiving last year. It was out for a while before then they had, oh, here you go. It's like right now, normal price is $150.
That's good.
And I'm trying to think. Oh, it looks like it comes with that little link to hook up to a PS4 or a Switch. Because originally they were selling that separately.
You said you couldn't get it to work with a Switch, though.
Yeah, I should try it again. I mean, it did work. It would work, but then after a few minutes, it would just stop working. It was the strangest thing.
Huh.
I'm not sure why. Because I was using the link that they said you need to use. This little the box for it. I don't get it. But the stick itself, it's nice quality. It's not. I'm not sure what kind of parts are. It's not like a Sanwa stick and buttons or anything, but it feels good.
Does it
it's well made?
Does it have like micro switches and everything where you can hear it?
Oh yeah, it's clickety click.
Yeah, that's cool.
And it's shaped. Well, you can't see it there, but I'll. Might be easier if I just shared the Amazon page just so you can see what it looks like. It's shaped like a old controller.
Oh, like the oh yeah, I got you. Like the little controller.
Yeah, it's got the same shape as a controller, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually, if you have a second stick, or remember the minis they put out for SNK? Was it last year, year before?
Yeah,
it came with a little controller. You can actually plug a controller into. See on the screen there, you got one player and two player, you can plug another controller into it and play two player where you're sitting together.
Wow.
One can use the stick. One can use either another stick if you plugged it in, or you can use a SNK controller. So it really is like its own video game system, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, it looks good. I always wanted to try one of those old Neo Geo CD or whatever those controllers are. Those little, they're not really game pads. They're like little clickety mini stick things, whatever they are.
Yeah, the ones that came with the mini weren't clicky at all, which was unfortunate.
Oh, they weren't? Huh.
No. That was unfortunate.
What made you decide to sell your PS4? I just was.
Oh, so when I was getting ready to get a PS5, I decided to sell my. I had like a slim PS4 and a Pro, and
gotcha.
I was going to get my PS5. So I was like, I'll sell these, and then I'll use that money and buy games and stuff.
Of course,
which is what I did, and then I ended up selling the PS5 because I wasn't playing it, and I knew somebody that really wanted one. And I kind of needed the money at the moment, so I was like, I'll get one later,
Yeah.
So I sold that. So now I don't have any.
Okay.
I don't have a PS4 or 5.
I was gonna say that's kind of the reason I thought a lot of people do that. They get into it, and then I never do. I'm always like holding on to systems, and
Well, it's my thing has always been like, I always have sold something to get the next thing. And then years later, buy that old thing again that I sold and shouldn't have sold in the first place. It's a mistake that I will probably always make the rest of my life. I know that. So I feel like I should be consistent about it.
I messed myself over this many times already, so I'll just stick with it.
Yeah, why not?
That's great.
Do you have any kind of Xbox or Switch?
I know. So I sold I had an Xbox Series, not Xbox Series. I had an Xbox One S that I gave to my brother when I bought an Xbox One X. And then I sold my Xbox One X to Ryan in the chat.
Yeah.
And I was done with Xbox. I was like, I just was not feeling Xbox. And I was like, I don't need this. This is fine. Because I'm all in on PlayStation. And then, of course, I ended up selling all my PlayStation stuff. And I had a Switch, which I gave to my daughter. So I have no modern consoles. I have like the newest console I have is a Wii U. I've got
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I got a PS3, a Wii U, and then everything old backwards. I have nothing modern, just PC. I play some Steam stuff occasionally, but I'm not even really a PC gamer. So, but I am going to get that new Steam Deck. I've got that reserved.
Oh, the handheld?
Yeah, I think that'll be pretty cool. I'm excited to try that.
It looks, the specs sound pretty amazing.
Yeah, I think it's worth the money. I think it'll be really, and I'm going to get one. My brother's going to get one. Several of my friends are getting them. So we're all going to kind of have the same specs for a PC. So that'll mean, if one of us gets a game, we know everybody else can get the game and it'll be fine. I like that. I like this idea. It's kind of like making PC more accessible, I think, for a lot of people. I'm really interested to see how that.
Because those parts, whatever you got in there is what you got. Because I was listening to them talk about it, and they were saying this isn't upgradable. It's just what you have, which, in some ways, like you're saying, it's great because, everything, like if anyone else has it, everyone's going to be compatible. Yeah. No one's going to have a better one,
Well, everybody will. I got the $500 one, and you only got, that'll always happen.
The only difference is the hard drive space, right?
There's like the type of hard drive and the space, so speed, but also the very most expensive one has etched glass, which the only difference that makes is the glare. It reduces glare, I think.
When does that come out, Cyrus? Is that this year?
So they're releasing it in waves. So like depending on how early you got in on the like if you were at the very beginning, you were supposed to get it maybe the end of this year, like December-ish. They say Q4, whatever the hell that means. And then it starts after that. A lot of people got Q1 of next year, Q2, Q3, depending on. So it's kind of rolling out. It's not like a release date necessarily. This is the way things are going to be done probably forever from now on.
Well, I don't know if you've heard of Panic's Play Date, the little yellow cranks.
Yeah.
That's how they're doing it.
Yeah.
They got enough parts to build 20,000, and then they're taking pre-orders as many as people want, but they're just telling everybody if you're in the first 20,000, you'll get yours this year. After that, we'll just go in order, and we have no idea when you'll get it.
What an interesting little device. Like, what do you guys think about the Play Date? Like, have you?
I pre-ordered.
You pre-ordered it?
Yeah.
What do you think about it? Viking, did you get one too?
No, I'm not. No, I don't know. I've got other things on my budget plate.
Yeah. But Jeff, what made you decide to get the Play Date?
Part of it is it's just weird. I mean, it's such an unusual idea because it's not just that the system is weird. When you buy it, you get Lord Schmuck, yes, the little yellow crank one. That's the one, yeah. You buy it; it comes with 24 games, but you don't get those games right away. They give you 2, and then every week they give you 2 more. For 12 weeks, and then it's like their season 1 of games. The whole point around it, they said they thought it'd be kind of fun if everyone was playing the same games on the same at the same time. So it's an interesting idea, and I mean, Panic themselves, the company. I've been following this for a long time, and they just seem like they know what they're doing, and they really care about this thing. So will they have a season 2 of games? I have no idea, but I don't know. It's an interesting company. I don't know who else would do this. It's a black and white screen with no backlight, and it's got a crank on it.
I've heard that the screen is the type of screen like those little e-readers have, to where it's like super reflective of light.
Yeah, they said it is not e-ink specifically, but it's very contrasty, and they said the screen, it's not a normal screen you would find on like a handheld system.
Yeah, I like that. That sounds interesting.
So it's a neat idea. And every play date is a dev kit. You can make your own games with it if you know how to do that.
Yeah, I saw something about that. Yeah.
So and they're coming out with a browser version where it's a lot of drop and drag stuff, making where it'll be much easier for other people to make their own games, and then you can actually side load it onto your system if you want, or send it to someone else and they can play it on their system. I don't know. It's just something interesting. I've never seen anything like it, so I was like, you know what, I want to get one of these.
One thing that concerns me about it is the confusion that it's going to cause when parents walk into the bedroom and the kid's playing it like this, doing this. Like, what are you doing? I'm playing the play date, Mom.
I'm on a play date.
No, I don't want to see.
You're like, I don't need you calling it anything.
Why is it a play date? What happened to my son?
Because Lance said earlier, he goes, play date, not the best name.
How much does it cost? Do you remember? I don't even know if you remember what it costs.
$179. It was supposed to be $149, but they said they raised it. They said they raised it because the prices went up.
How many games do you get with that?
24.
You get 24 that are rolled out.
Right. Like, so the way I look at it, if it's $5 a game, I know these are going to be small games. These aren't going to be 60-hour games.
Yeah.
I'm guessing they'll be worth, just say on average $5. I mean, that's $120 right there. So the system.
I guess you could put 60 hours into a game where you're just doing this, but it would be like.
If it's like a high score type game, yeah. But, you're not going to have Zelda on there. I just wonder when that crank's going to break off.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. How long do you think that crank will last? Like,
It depends
Well, I
on
do
the
remember
game.
them talking about it. They said they were testing it. It was breaking, so they had to change the design, and they had to. I think the whole mechanism now is metal. I don't think it was originally.
well, I hope.
I love metal.
I don't know about that thing. Like, I gotta see what. I mean, when people get it, I'll be curious to see what their reactions are to it.
Oh, I'll be doing some videos on it. That's for sure. Lord Shmup cranking one off. Yeah, there you go.
Born Distracted is in there. I saw him. He's not going to be interested in the play date though, because it doesn't have an OLED screen. He only buys. There is a whole inside joke with Born Distracted.
I'm asking for a friend.
Cyrus, maybe you know
Analog
this. Do you know when the Analog Duo's coming out?
The last that I heard was this year, and then I never heard anything else. And I don't think they've said anything publicly because
Is that $300?
Yeah, I think so. No, I think it was $200. The thing is,
Well, if it's $200, that's a pretty nice deal to play.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was pretty good. The problem is that was announced. They still haven't got the Analog Pocket out. Okay,
Yeah,
they're dealing with that. I think the Analog Duo is going to be more expensive than they said, and I think it's going to be delayed sometime. Who knows when? Because it was a very ambitious project. It's going to do everything: PC Engine, TurboGrafx CD of every kind, arcade card, even Super Graphics, and it would do real CDs and play the cards and everything.
So if you had every single PC Engine TurboGrafx game, it would work. And yeah, they would work in this thing. Turbo chip and CDs.
Anything except for PCFX, which is their 32-bit thing they did. So so any of the 16-bit variants of PC Engine or TurboGrafx would all run on it. In fact, it would even work with PC Engine controllers, like real controllers. Like it was really nice. FPGA based. But who knows? Like there's no announcement as far as actual release on that. I'm guessing because they have no idea.
Yeah, I'm just looking at their website. I don't even see a price on this. Did they actually give a price?
Well, they may have taken that off. It had a price when it was originally announced. I think.
Yeah, I thought that too. I don't see a price on here anymore.
Yeah, I think it was $200, and I think that's.
We might be rethinking that.
I think that's why it's not on there anymore. Yeah.
What were we thinking?
Yeah. I've got a video when they first announced it, and I'm pretty sure it had a price because I showed the website in my video, so I could probably go back and look at that and see what the price was. It'll probably.
The Pocket, the Analog Pocket can use TurboGrafx 16 games as long as you buy the little adapter for it.
Yeah, that's how they're developing. That's all FPGA based too. So all the
there you go. That's cheaper than mine at Turbo Express. I'll tell you that.
Amen to
It's
that.
look better too.
Oh, I don't know about all that. Turbo Express, they use Turbo Express in the movie. What was that movie with Gene Hackman and Will Smith? There's this movie, Enemy of the State, I think.
Enemy of the State, right?
Yeah, where they use the TurboGrafx in that movie and pretend like it's some kind of high-tech device or something.
Oh, shoot.
It's really funny.
Lord Schmupp asked if all these games on the Playdate will be fishing games. I made that joke, or will be a lot of fishing. I made that joke that all 24 are fishing games.
Well,
Oddly enough, there's not a single fishing game listed.
Fishing. They're like, why didn't we think of fishing?
How did we forget that? Damn it.
We've got 17 masturbation games and no fishing games. Damn it. What were we thinking?
This will not be a Game & Watch type system. It's actual animation. It's not just little pre-programmed graphics.
I mean, it looks cool. I'm not saying it doesn't look cool, but it's kind of expensive. And I don't know what the build quality is. That'll be interesting to see. That'll be
I
interesting.
mean, I don't know, of course. I have a feeling it's going to be good just because this company seems like they've been doing everything first class. They published Untitled Goose Game, of all things, which is kind of a weird. They said they've been doing games for a long time, and they wanted to do some kind of physical thing for the fans, and it started out being a clock, and then they started adding to it, and before they knew it, they were doing a game system.
Sounds familiar. Like, anyway, seems to be kind of what happens a lot when people get an idea. They're like, "Oh, we'll do this, and we'll add this, and we'll add this, and we'll add this." And before you know it, it's like, "Wait a minute, is this even possible? Like, what are we doing?"
Well, they teamed up with a hardware company overseas somewhere in Europe, and one of the ideas they had was the Playdate. That was the little system with a crank, and that got them all excited.
Wow.
I'm telling you, I've never seen anything like that. And when I first saw it, my first reaction wasn't cool. My first reaction was, what? So I give them credit. It's different and unique. Is that good? I don't know, but it's definitely unique. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll let everyone know once I get it. I ordered the first 3 minutes, so I should get it right away whenever it comes out. Hopefully,
I don't want to jinx you, so I don't want to make any predictions because I was gonna joke and be like, "Look, it's the crypt." Oh, what? You know, but I don't.
Yeah, day one, it's like, hey, my crank. What happened?
I just hope they don't make any games where you hold the crank and spin it like that, and the whole console fly off and break
like a noisemaker.
Yeah.
One of them is a party game.
Yeah.
You could do that for like starting a fire. Maybe they have one that's about camping, and you can crank it to start
I think
a fire.
that's the concern, is that the console will start a fire.
Like your first television.
This is our concern, dude.
You got a game where you're starting up an old 1920s car.
Yeah. Doesn't take batteries. All you do is crank it for 5 minutes, and then you can play the game. Say.
Feel like Wrong Way Feldman. Maybe they have a Wrong Way Feldman game. They have to crank up the plane.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting. Hopefully it's good. We'll see. The crank is not for a pencil sharpener add-on. Not yet, anyway.
And I like this
one
game
though that you do that where the whole game is just sharpening pencils. It's like a
different
ASMR.
length. See how fast you can do it.
Yeah.
How fast you can get it down to the nub.
Where did you learn to sharpen? You're like, ooh.
You could have leaderboards and everything.
Yeah.
It's like a WarioWare game.
Yeah.
I like this one. Damn it, Cy. Ruined my idea for the New Year's celebration game.
That's what I do. That's my MO on YouTube, is ruining other people's ideas.
You're a Debbie Downer.
Well, Cyrus, we've been going 2.5 hours. I don't want to wear you out here.
Lord knows I got to get some rest. I need sleep.
Yeah, we're worried about your health for one thing.
Yeah, man, me too. I'm like, come on.
Don't die, ET. Don't die.
No. Oh, that's so funny. I guess I got to show you this now. That's so weird that you said that.
Well, we hope that ET doesn't die. It's not that weird.
I know, but I just saw this T-shirt online. Let's see if I can get to it quickly here. I got to remember where I put it.
Lord Schmupp, thanks for stopping by.
Lord Schmupp.
I believe it's the first time you've been here.
No, that's not it.
Yeah, I mean, as you can tell, Lord Schmupp is very good at shoot 'em up games.
I know Lord Schmupp by his alter ego, Lord Schmear.
Here it comes. Oh, here we go.
That's funny.
Oh, I saw that. Where was that? I love that picture.
I saw it on Facebook. It showed up. I don't know where it went now. I mean,
I guess that's where I saw it because it was like an ad and I was like, oh, that's so cool.
They're like shutting it down, or they're like finishing out on that design. I thought that was brilliant. That's brilliant.
All right. Well, as tradition, Papa Pete takes us out here.
There it goes. We got to make this a video so we can just do that and just play it at the end.
Oh, you know, I have Pete sent me a third video. I want to play that at the very end.
Okay, good.
Thanks for having
All
me
right.
on, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Oh,
thanks for being here, man.
I know you're
Great.
usually busy on Wednesday, so it's nice to have you on when we could.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was nice to do something different on a Wednesday. I appreciate
Awesome.
it. This is great.
Awesome.
So
Alf versus Alf versus ET.
Alf versus ET.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough.
I got to go with Alf. I mean, it's
Well, ET has that magic finger. He can take that finger
Finger.
and then get up in that Alf. You know what I'm saying? But Alf, he's streetwise. Alf has that street.
See, he does.
Yeah.
Yeah, street cred.
He eats cats. That's a bad.
He does eat cats.
You don't want to mess with that. You know.
No. I wonder if he'd take Reese's Pieces over a cat.
But ET does get liquored up once in a while, and you know, a drunk alien. This is, you know,
it can be fun.
I don't know who's
Depending on where I am in the world, I can be a drunk alien.
Yeah,
Just saying.
Where did Pete go? Did he fall asleep?
I don't know. Did he fall asleep? There he is. Go
game.
Gone. Well, that was so fast.
Those last two came in really fast. All
He was
right,
holding
thanks,
out.
Cyrus. Hang on a second. We'll say our goodbyes right after the show.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thanks
I'll make
for
it
being
quick.
on. It was awesome. I think everyone had a great time.
Yeah, I did. I loved it. Loved it.
And we'll go out with Pete's final video of the night.
To hell with you, GoGameGo.